It's going well. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, big fan of Upswing, big fan of this match. So let's get after it.
Yeah, how was it? You were on Joey's the other day. I watched a little bit of it. You guys were having some tech things, but after that, what do you think of it so far? And did you have fun commentating that?
I had a great time with Joey. He does a great job over there. And yeah, this match has been amazing. I mean, there's really nothing like a very long heads up match. It's super intriguing just with the adjustments and all of that. Heads Up No Limit is a fantastic game, which I think a lot of us like. And just to see one of the all-time greats get challenged by Daniel Negreanu to play tens of thousands of hands of No Limit Hold'em is incredible, and just watching it unfold is really like just a delight, I think, for all of us and all the different streams and people watching. I mean, it has like a global reach, so it's exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, what was your take before it started? I feel like you were similar to me, where we thought it was going to be a bit of a thrashing in Doug's favor. How do you feel about it now, and how did it change?
I thought it would be a thrashing, and it certainly hasn't been one so far. But I still just think Doug is whatever kind of favorite he is, and I think the cream will sort of rise to the top. But infinite respect to Daniel, and if it doesn't come in like that, I mean, you just have to kind of take your hat off to him. But yeah, I think Doug is a big favorite for some reasons, and let's see.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a single raise pop both tables. And interesting right off the bat, Negs comes with 40% on Jack 10-5. He's been exclusively or semi-exclusively going either 20 or 75 on the flop. So right away, he might be introducing a new kind of wrinkle. That two sizings thing was, take that for what you will. But I kind of think more sizings are good. They don't all need to be incredibly protected theoretically. You can mix it up. So let's see.
How much more complicated is it if he does have three sizings pre? Like when you get further down the tree, is it much tougher? Like the style that Doug's playing?
Yeah, but I think Doug is drawing on his theoretical acumen a lot. But it's not that necessarily every sizing he picks is sound or correct for the spot. But as the hands unfold, he's just great. So I think it's tougher to play somebody who's using all sorts of stuff. Check down on the right, and now we have this. That kind of smallish stab from Doug in this raise from Negs. Okay, winner. Seven's good. I mean, Daniel's off to the races over here.
And that bodes well for chat that has nothing to do on a Saturday. You're going to want Daniel to be ahead after 2 hours because we tend to go a little bit longer when that happens. If Doug's crushing, it's a 2-hour stream.
The first 3-bet over here. Got the 75% going, Jack 4 deuce, 2 spades. Let's see what size he comes with on these kind of low paired non-flush boards. Comes with check.
Would this be the type of board where you'd elect for the 20% sizing?
On 5-5-4, heads up is weird. You can definitely come with a big sizing as well. But I think there's room for both sizings and a fair amount of checking with your ace highs and some other stuff. This is the kind of board that if it's EP button, like 6 max, you want to only go big if you're EP. Heads up is a little different. And on the 4, we had that kind of block stab from Doug. Now check this. I mean, this is a check raisable kind of scenario for Doug. But let's see.
I'm with you. I'm trained to view every river as like, okay, Doug's gonna do something really aggressive right now.
It always feels like Doug is going to go all in. All great players to have that, you know, like feels that way with Fedor too. In any tournament, any hand you're in, he's just going to be all in at some point. It's like
Yeah.
Jesus, like. But Doug definitely has that, and he's earned it. He does put the stack in, you know. And
And you've noticed too that like Daniel has missed some of those thin value bets that Doug's been getting paid on. And I don't blame him because if you're always expecting to be facing river aggression, it makes it a lot harder to go for those like third pair kind of value bets, right?
absolutely. Nice hand, Doug. Nice sizing. Went with a pretty polar kind of sizing there. Just full pot on King, King, 5, 5. Couple of checks on the right.
So my plan today was to get along with you, but not so well that Ali comes after me.
Yeah. Good luck with Ali, all
Yeah, I
right?
feel like you guys are like kind of exclusive. Like he's cool with you like
Yeah,
dabbling with
yeah.
other commentators, but we better not do too well.
All right. Well, I'll contribute on my end to us not doing too well, and if you do the same, hopefully he'll be happy. We have that little 20% from Negs on Ace Queen 6 Rainbow. Seems to make some sense. Fend on the right. See what micro stakes comes with. Overbet on the left, so that's definitely some spice. It's interesting because that middle-y part of the deck doesn't really hit Doug's check call range, but I mean, Daniel has a clear advantage in the absolute best hands, just given that he didn't get 3-bet pre. So okay, 3-bets again. Looks like Daniel rather has been more aggressive with the 3-bet so far.
Mhm.
Somewhat meaningless sample size, but
So you know that last session there were 0 all-ins pre?
0 all-ins pre. I
Yeah.
mean, that is kind of consistent with Daniel's sort of style,
Mhm.
so to speak, but this is heads up. That seems pretty rare.
Yeah.
It looked like check, check on the right, King, Queen, 10, then something like 40% from Doug. I mean, always good to collect these sizings from Doug for aspiring players and Daniel, but it looks like Doug mixes up his sizings a little more. So just each corresponding texture. If Doug goes a sizing, he went for it. Winner Daniel 3-bet, and he came with that kind of cute-ish sort of bet, took it down.
Yeah, guys, a little different today. Jimmy is zooming into the tables with the huge pots and big action so that we focus on those. I know you guys don't like it when we miss a hand, but you know, we'll show you the more exciting of the two.
Probably see Doug go small here a lot on King 10-10.
I love the chat animals. Muxy asks, what are the main complaints from chat today? There's always something.
Just give them time, Muggsy. I mean,
Mhm.
check, check on the right. Pretty healthy lead there from Doug. Daniel folds. That might be one of those spots where you call with like your ace wheel cards and sort of fold your ace straight draw blocker interference and then call with your some of your over cards. Another 3-bet from Negs. I mean, Negs brought the you know,
Yeah.
feels
You
like
know
it's
what
like
it is?
a
Doug's
3-bet.
sleepy. Doug's been eating a lot of turkey, and Daniel has not.
It's true, by the way, you know. 9-3 deuce flush draw, check calls something like 40, I think that was, maybe high 30s. Deuce is probably a little better for Negs, but nothing crazy. Heads up single raise pots, as we know, are quite wide ranges. Okay. Yeah, so he goes full pot, kind of a polar sort of sizing. Nice hand.
Got it.
Probably a 9 for negs or a 3.
It's always nice when you get a river bluff card and have it.
It really is. And I wonder for Daniel if he had something like 3-4 or 3-5, if those are the sort of coveted bluffs after calling 9-3 deuce turn 2 river ace. Maybe things like 3-4 and 3-5s are the ones that check raise or even overbet straight away, or maybe they're just happy to check call and it's other stuff. Two-tone here, you could see some big betting from Daniel, some overbetting, multiple straight draws, flush draws tend to be overbet kind of spots, or check comes with the ladder. Single raised over there, he's coming with 20% again. So we did see 40% ham one, but it looks like now you're going to see a lot of 20 or 75 from Daniel.
Be funny if it was just a misclick and we're like, oh shit, he's bringing the heat.
Yeah.
That did actually happen to Doug. He was saying I think it was the last stream where he put in his 3-bet sizing as an initial raise.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, got to protect them aces.
I find sweet value bet there from Nags.
Mm-hmm.
That was well done. I don't know if that's good or not theoretically, but bravo. Might be Jackson 4s with an ace. I mean, I just don't know. Maybe a little bit.
It's kind of cool how poker has changed though, and you can be like, don't know if that's good or bad, I'll check later. Whereas before it used to just be I'll have 10 conversations with people who are good and like take the average answer.
Yeah. Little tickle from Doug. Calls. Could block here a lot for Negs. Although I don't think he has some tremendous 4x advantage, but he elected to put chips in the pot, seeing aggression, where Doug just put chips in the pot straight away. So his range is probably a little bit stronger here on this turn. Does come with something cute.
It's a good prediction.
Another 3-bet on the right. I mean, and a call. Okay, 9-7-3. I think this is a big better check board. See what he comes with.
Could you explain why you would think that?
Because the relationship between all 3 cards provides tons of straight draws, where on 9-7 deuce it doesn't. So a lot of your big pairs are incentivized to protect from that entire middly region of the deck, because the 4-5 suiteds of the world and stuff are very much in Doug's range. So you might kind of polarize and bet your strong hands and bet some bluffs with backdoors or whatever, or your middly stuff. But I think theoretically speaking, you want to choose a bigger size and check a lot. Another 3-bet, our first 4-bet of the day. So here we go. Maybe we'll see that pre-flop all in finally. Let's go, gentlemen.
Nope.
Winner. And I wonder if at this point in the match, like, is Doug drawing a line in the sand with these 3-bets? I don't know. Sorry to cut you off.
I'm hoping to have like a 200K pot at some point. I don't know with these short matches if it's really going to happen. Like if they go 4 hours, I think there's a high likelihood we'll see one at some point. But with the 2-hour matches, it's like usually one person has 100, the other one has 50, and
right. I want to see a massive pot and just a horrendous beat. I think we all do. I don't care who takes it. Just something crazy, like, it will happen. I mean, it mathematically has to happen. All right, winner there for next.
And word on the street is that Doug will come on for a few minutes at the end of this. So if you guys have any really good questions, tweet them at me, because it's hard to follow the Twitch chat this closely. But if you have a really good question, just tweet it and we'll get to it after.
Always like hearing what the Supreme Leader has to say. 40% there on the left, check, check, turn. know how good the king is for Doug. I'm not sure. I think he check raises a lot of that sort of stuff. But see. And Negs also barrels turn a lot with this sort of stuff. And I wonder if Negs turns his ace highs into a bluff here ever. Tens versus nines with a turn flush draw all makes sense. 5K out there. Not sure what happened on the right, but okay. Winner. Single raised here, 5-5-7, checks back, flush draw now on the turn. This again. Doug comes with that 40-ish%, takes it down. Next takes one down on the right. I actually really enjoy watching without hole cards. I mean, with hole cards, it's probably more fun in the grand scheme of things, or what have you. But without hole cards, it tests you. It's interesting. I mean, it's almost like you're in the game in a way.
Yeah, I would prefer to have some mix. Like, obviously, if there are more hands going to showdown, you kind of get your mix there. You get to at least find out if you're right or wrong. It would be cool if every few streams they would have some whole card cans.
It would. It would.
It's tough for a casual viewer, I think.
Yeah.
To get into it.
Single raised on the right. We've got the patented little D negs tickle over there. Call snap check. Similar kind of board on the left, no flush draw. Comes with third. Check call, check, check, bet. Interesting. Yeah. So the power of kind of the 20%, Doug sort of just couldn't take it on the flop. He just peeled a 10 high on the back door. He just took a card off, like we used to say in the old days. And so, when you go small like that, your opponents sometimes have these wildly wide ranges or weird floats. A really nice pick off there from Negs with that 2 pair, and kind of a card that I feel like the 7 was sort of a good card for him. It didn't interfere with straight draws and stuff like that. So well done.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It leaves the options open for Doug too. If Doug thinks that Daniel is under bluffing a little bit, then I'm sure peeling that $400 and trying to find some way to take it away at some point makes sense. If you think that Daniel's going to stab once and then quit even sometimes, it's probably a good call.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe he wanted to polarize even a little more on the end. I don't know. And that 8-10 float on King Jack small with 2 spades, 8-10 with just a spade. That might be in the don't try this at home kind. I don't think that that's a thing really, but so it does speak to what you were saying though. Doug has ideas on kind of how to beat this guy from what he's seen, and that's where it starts to get, just really interesting. Because it's obviously an ambitious flip. I mean, we got undercards to the second card. I mean, what's going on? Full pot here on the left. Winner.
So you said you've been getting in the streets a little bit. Is it inspired by this challenge, or are you already playing a little heads up?
I think, well, it's definitely inspired by the challenge. But yeah, I've been battling. Honestly, it took me too long to get on this WSOP.com because I'm in Vegas. So I really enjoy it and I'm thankful for it. And, I love playing No Limit. So No Limit's going, and I'll hop in a little, and I've been bobbing and weaving a little on the net. You know how it is right now. We're everywhere. Yep. Everybody's everywhere right now. But yeah, I love to play, and this has definitely re-sparked like old kind of joys and memories of playing heads up. I've done a lot of battling, so it's just it's great. I mean, it's an amazing form of poker. Truly
Yeah.
is.
There'll
And
be
just
some
talking
fish
about
too, because I know
it.
I feel inspired to play, and I have no idea what I'm
Get in
doing.
there. You always say that. You always sell yourself short. You know what's going on. Stop it.
Listen, I'm not playing you, Nick. Good try.
Maybe you won't know it's me, you know? No, I'm kidding. Check bet here from Negs. Okay. Winner. That 40% from Doug. I mean, he's very much looked at that particular size on the turn, that kind of middly in between sort of thing. And a 4x here from Negs. Somewhat wet board. So let's see. Winner. Doug might have just had the sort of jack straddler, no equity kind of hands. Feels like he's 3-betting on the right now. Deuce. Check calls 40 on the left. Percent taken on the right. I think you can have a small and a big size here on king, king, deuce, deuce, but I'm not sure what's going on. Feels like you'd want to value bet a 10, so some of your 10s. And Doug is tricky. He checks back turns sometimes with like nutty sort of hands, which seems like a good part of any tough player's arsenal, but comes with an overbet on the right, so take that for what you will. That 8-7 situation with the clubs, he deems overbet worthy. Gets called, okay. One brewing a little bit. 3-bet on the left.
I got a question from Chad after this.
This seems like a lot of quarter pot on king, king, deuce with some checking as well. With the ladder. That's a pretty good card for Negs there, check calling an overbet. Both straights have gotten there. He might just have something like one pair, like queen 7 suited or something of this ilk. And for Doug, it's sort of a weird spot. Okay, queen 7, king 7, take it down. All makes sense. Nice
That is,
overbet from Doug.
yeah. Can you explain why you would go for an overbet there with a hand like that?
The kicker is so real. They have to call all of their 7x. Sometimes that middle pair king kicker, middle pair ace kicker does want to go a bit harder on these spots, especially with the middle-y kicker, because it needs a lot of protection. As this one gets checked down to the river 3-bet. And the king of clubs just blocks a lot of continues and stuff like that. I think it's probably good with king 7 and ace 7 and king 7, king 8 and ace 8. I think probably that's a thing a lot of the time.
I have a question for you from chat. Scott Alford says, what are general thoughts towards Daniel for what he's done in poker and for taking on this challenge? And if he's down after 12.5K hands, do you think he continues?
Check down to the end here. Okay, winner. I mean, for him to take this challenge is unlimited lifetime respect warranted, I think, you know, regardless of what. Yeah, there's nothing to say anymore in that regard. He's here playing and it's fantastic. And you know, he's obviously a pillar of the community or whatever, and one of the most famous players ever, legendary player, Hall of Famer. Resume speaks for itself. And him being in there is just amazing for poker. So respect, you know, I mean, he's out there playing. So, you know, thank you, Next. I mean, we have something to sweat and we have something to bet on. I mean, you know, got a little something to bet on every day.
It's true.
Comes a little stab here. All right. Yeah, take it.
I think there's a lot of emotional upside for Daniel as long as knew he was going to put in the work and wasn't going to get absolutely thrashed. There's emotional upside where if he keeps it close, it's going to be good for him. If he pulls out that whatever it was, what 4 or 5 to 1, whatever it was,
Yeah.
if it's saying 1 in 5 times he beats Doug, like oh man, that would be
Oh,
so brutal for Doug.
Yeah, the 75% size on the right. Take it. Yeah, and I mean, by the way, unlimited respect to Doug too. I don't being the favorite, like kind of as you were saying, being the favorite carries more pressure than being the dog for sure. It's like he's in kind of a lose-lose, except they're playing very high stakes. He thinks he's got the nuts, so really he feels great, but he just has a lot of heart. He's a warrior and not scared to lose. You don't ascend the ranks of Heads Up if you're scared. I mean, we all have fears and stuff about losing and whatever, but he can take it in stride really well, and he's a warrior himself. So I mean, both these guys, they got in there. Kind of a stab on the right, and then this situation, 3-bet on the left.
Crouton's having a dream behind me. I'm just making sure it's not getting loud.
Is she a snorer?
A little. He's a barker in his sleep, and he doesn't even bark in real life. So it's just like it's like Ralph on Simpsons. He's like, "Sleep. That's where I'm a Viking."
Full pot here. Definitely puts things like 10-8 in a weird spot. All those one pair of hands with no kind of backup, so to speak. Interesting card. Negs can have that card for sure. His Jack 9, Queen 9 stuff that elected to call flop. And those also seem like good full pot barrels for Doug. Yeah, he does have Queen 9. I wonder if, I don't know. I feel like he might be allowed to. I wonder if Negs can lead there. I mean, probably just can't, but maybe. Big one here on the left. Apologies, not up to speed, but let's see. 14-6, 4-9-10. I know it was 3-bet, and maybe a bet went in on flop check, because I think turn was check, and here we go. And I wonder if Doug somehow has something like 10 Jack with the 10 of clubs. Does this call or raise or fold sometimes? Daniel's bluffs are probably King Queen with a club, King Jack with a club, all of those. Or maybe something like 3s with a club, or these guys, just 5-6 of hearts, or like some no interference anywhere. But because Doug is calibrating what his best bluffs are here and what the bottom of his call range is, so on. And like we were saying before, like it always feels like the stack is coming in with this guy.
Doug had a spot like for that similar to what you're describing right now, where he ended up having a pair of 10s, which I think was third pair, but also blocked the straight, and he went for a shove on the river over a bet with very little fold equity, and Daniel ended up having Queen 9 for 2 pair and made the call. And I don't know if you listened to Finding Equilibrium, that guy who does like YouTube clips.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He broke down the whole hand. It was pretty cool. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that makes me always feel like Doug is gonna put a lot more chips in the pot. But good call, Doug.
And the 6-7 offsuit. Was that a 3-bet pre? It might have been.
I can. Oh shoot! I just missed the replay by 1 second.
Apologies, guys, but okay, third on the right. But I mean, yeah, great call from Doug. That club is huge. I mean, forgive the obvious, but that 8 of clubs, especially those middle-y clubs, they're blocking everything. 8-7, 8-6, 8-5, a hair, and so on. So, those clubs in the middle really interfere with tons of flushes. And yeah, bravo, good call. I mean, it speaks for itself. Check call, third check. 6 river, let's see.
Yeah, chat said 3-bet pre, C-bet call, check. I don't know if I can trust this now. It says check river 2/3 call. I think he means
that sounds
turn.
right.
Yeah, turn check river 2/3 call. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Name I can't pronounce.
Pull up these sort of ranges I glance at sometimes to see what's up with that 6-7 offsuit and these kind of unrefined. So I have that in there as under 10%, but it creeps in there a little bit. So to the Fortune favors the brave, I guess. We have another 3-bet from Negs. I feel like Negs is allowed to bet turn again there with the gut shot and the kind of not great flush draw. I feel like that line might be for choice, even though it is awkward when the ace of clubs comes, where now maybe the caller has more flushes, but I still think you're allowed to do some betting in his hand, probably. But okay, and that might just be wrong. Single raised on the right.
I did promise Mike Brady I would tell chat about the Black Friday upswing sale. So I'll make good on my promise. They are slashing prices for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's 25% off. Details will be in the Twitch chat if Jimmy could just post the command. Just a small amount of shilling, nothing big.
Sometimes you got to show in this world, you know. Got that 40% again from Negs. So he definitely added a third flop size to the arsenal. He really has not been doing that, so that's compelling. Check, check on the right, check half pot from Doug. Often when things are super murky and wet and weird, it seems half enters the equation a lot from great players, and you know, kind of makes sense. Get him, Crouton.
Yeah,
Get him.
seriously.
What's going on? You're all right.
Regulating.
All right. 40% on flop, and now this called twice. I suppose Daniel has an advantage in the nuts. Somehow he can probably have all of the nuts where Doug can't, although fairly obscure given the action. And he does come with a big overbet, and it's tricky when they can have something like 5-6 of clubs and you just can't. They're allowed to do this to you sometimes, and it's annoying. You know, Doug probably wants to be calling with something like 9-5 would be my guess. Like I would think that would be better than 9-10 in a spot like this, but it's definitely weird. I think you really want Daniel to have like 8-10. That might be wrong. Maybe Daniel's more doing this with some small one pair hand, turning it into a bluff. Half pot on the right. Looks like 3-bet pre, check call, half pot. So, I mean, things have heated up. That's a pretty dynamic turn card too. See, SPR is 2 on the right. So, I mean, there's definitely some hands that can't get away. A nice overbet from Negs regardless. I think that's the right idea there. Or at least I think it's sort of allowed.
And that's definitely an adjustment that Daniel's made in the past few sessions. The first few, Doug was finding a ton of overbet spots on rivers and sometimes turns as well. And Daniel had almost none. So he's learning.
Absolutely. He is, and he's an obsessive driven kind of guy. So he's going to get better. You know, he's going to really think about all of these showdowns and hands. I mean, obviously here he comes with kind of a stab. Seems like a nice choice with a king. Just inherently seems like a pretty logical choice to try to get called by, you know, 2 pair and so on. Winner. And probably a nice choice with something like, he doesn't really have that many bluffs there. That's what's weird. Maybe you take some of your little ace, like ace-3 suiteds and do it. I don't know. Hard to find bluffs as play a 3-bet call, check, 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 call half. A bit odd. 20% again. Seems like a big, like an overbet kind of scenario on the right. 3-bet on the left. Check. Got the stab. Doug will definitely peel flop with some backdoors, and probably he would do this with just a king. 7-8. So, I mean, he's really pretty disdainful of this 20%, Jamie. I mean, what's going on with your boy here? The guy's check call with 9 high. I mean, but it's interesting, and it's, you know, it's a window into his mind twice. I mean, we have the 10-8 peel 1 spade on king jack small or whatever, and this 3-bet on the left and kind of bet smallish call. So we have that low paired, no flush draw board, and we see Doug has 3-bet and gone small. So he deems that to be a thing, which is, I think, makes sense. Checks to negs, which I think you'll see a lot of on this board. It's pretty scary for the 3-better. Next 3-bets on the right.
It's pretty funny. Daniel's been playing like 4-5 suited his whole life so much that anytime I see a board, I'm like, oh, that's Daniel's board. Don't look at position, don't look at pre-flop.
Yeah, Doug agrees, by the way.
Yeah.
3-bet call on the right. Ace 4-7 rainbow. Let's see. You can. I think you can go small, big here, and check. He goes tiny.
He's giving it a shot. He's like, well, when Daniel went tiny, I spazzed out.
Yeah.
His turn.
Yeah. Kind of an awkward SPR, but you could bet quite big here. He goes with the like 80 some odd percent, whatever that is, which makes sense. He has ace ace, he has ace king, he has king king. So he's allowed to kind of try to protect / fold out some stuff just with that sizing. And now the SPR is a little under 1. I mean, seems like Doug's bluffs here probably are things like the queen jack, queen 10 situation, and maybe something like 4-5 suited, that 3-bet, and now goes 3. Does jam. Let's see. Very weird spot for negs with ace X. Obviously, some should call, some should fold. You have to start thinking about what blockers you truly want. And it can be really tough to figure out at times. Winner for Doug, so take it down, sir. We'll never know.
So unsatisfying.
So unsatisfied. This is true. It really is. Single raise pot, check, check. Leads this king turn. That's probably fine. I don't know why I don't know what's going on.
I'm just going to agree with you. You're probably fine. I'm like, yes, definitely. It's good.
That seems all right.
So much different. Like I've studied obviously heads up for tournaments, but that's 40 big blinds, maybe.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, deep is definitely like Wild West, and and you need resources too to kind of study deep stack spots because they slow things down a little bit. Okay, pretty big sizing here from Doug Winner.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that both players agreed to obviously top up to 40, but to not reset when they get to some insane number. I didn't think that would happen. I thought, because I think in the Galfond challenge, don't they reset when they get to some like crazy amount of big blinds?
I think so. And I love that they're doing that. And it probably favors Daniel in theory. I think that favors the underdog, although that might not be true, but he wants to play, massive pots. Check calls an overbet on the right. Interesting. A7-8 rainbow, Doug overbets. It feels like Doug has more overbets on flop as part of his game than Daniel. So playing very deep, sometimes you're incentivized to kind of get the ball rolling, get chips in the pot. So it's interesting. And now we have a check call, a full pot on turn, 6 rivers. So this is a lot of spice. I think Doug might have ace king, ace queen a lot. I know that's absurd to say playing heads up, but those hands often want to overbet top pair, top kicker. I mean,
because an ace is never folding flop, right? So you may as well just start building a pot.
Exactly.
Ooh. You might have been right.
Maybe. I mean, and I like Daniel's line a lot, although maybe Turney wants to raise. I don't know that's a weird spot. 7-8 ace, we check call an overbet. Now Jack turn. I mean, I definitely think you can make a case that his hand raises, tries to just, play a pot with sevens and eights, perhaps, which might nit check the river or scare cards, or the ace king, ace queen. That feels like it picks off the semi bluffs, but maybe his hand just purely check calls because they're so deep. I just don't know. But
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. If they're 100K deep a piece, I feel like don't you have to start really worrying about if tons of chips go in, you just have Jack 8 there. But right now it's
absolutely.
like I'm like, oh, it's only 50K. How fast I get blinded to how much money this actually is.
Yeah. They're like 120 effective, let's say. So middle two pair on an ace board is a weird kind of mechanic because we sort of unblock ace X and block two pairs. So it's kind of like we really want to get it going versus ace X, but probably check call is just nice. Oh, a little raise here on the end. Looks like check down, third raise. Very nice, Daniel. Take it. A little straight blocker for dessert. We have one brewing on the left. Was this 3-bet bet call? Probably. Third.
Not
You
used to
often see
these like
small sizes.
small river
Yeah.
sizes from Doug.
I feel like when the flush comes out, you can often just go small. And I know we're used to seeing Doug like dropping bombs here. What is
Yeah,
new
Doug's small
refinement?
sizing's like 90% pot.
Right, right.
I wanted to ask you something about what we were just talking about. With not resetting the stacks, you think that favors Daniel, but do you just mean like it would favor him in the increasing variance way to actually be ahead 12.5K hands through, right? But it has to be good for Doug dollars wise to be deeper,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's my take on it. And perhaps, um, yeah, he had. So I think the plan there, when you have king three on that deuce 5-10 jack, it's like the idea of future blockers, where he's going to have a very robust like bluffing strategy on all those straight cards. So it's kind of fun, but at the same time, it's like no pair, no draw. So it's a little bit weird. Yeah, that's my exact take, and maybe it's just better for Doug because, as you said, I mean, I think the favorite, the deeper they are, and he's definitely got more experience playing very deep stacked heads up, which is huge. It's so I don't know, but the increase in variance seems like the underdog's friend. And Doug can implode in these massive pies. He's got so much heart. He's out of his mind. Like, you never know. He might like 5xing the river all in because, when you're very deep, he might really get, might start lifting the weights and
Mm-hmm.
3-bet on the right
I've
check.
seen it happen.
I think you'll see him check that board a lot, see the 3-better check a lot, scared of the flushes. Checks again. Probably see Daniel go 20 here a lot on the left. Right, so
The thinking behind that just being that, the hands that are there already. Like if you flop huge, you're not trying to bet like 60% or 70% there, right?
Yeah, I think it's that, and also you do want to go for value with some stuff that's very vulnerable, but also sort of worthwhile. And Villain just has a lot of just like checks, not folds, red cards and stuff. Overbets again on the flop. I like this flop spice from Doug. It's overbet flop strategies are not so easy to those. I think a lot of us think about turn spots and river spots more, but flop overbets playing deep stack no limit are dope. I mean, if that's if you can sort of pull it off. And we have a snap check there after check calling 40 on turn. So that's like somewhat compelling that maybe he's playing his range just as a check, even on this kind of low middly straight board where I would think he could have some leads on turn, but it does come with check, and Daniel following through, winner. So, okay.
Daniel with about the 25th 3-bet of the day.
That's what it feels like, man. It feels like he's really 3-bet a high percentage for the sample.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Haven't seen too many flop check raises, so 3 point whatever X calls. Might see some checking here from Doug. Comes with an overbet. Takes it down. Probably if you're in Daniel's seat, you want to unblock clubs and unblock that middle region of the deck, I would think, as far as your get sticky kind of choices. 40% on the left, 987 rainbow. Okay. Calls. Next check calls small on the right.
Sorry to anyone in chat said, "What's that noise?" I think that was my dog digging in the other room. They don't. I pay a lot of attention to them normally, so they're not too thrilled when I stream.
My dog is also a digger. Okay, so we got the 40% and then the just sort of value bet kind of size. These spots are so murky for Doug. Which of your 8x, if any, is calling? I think some of it is, but you know, he does release, so well done. We'll never know. Three bet. Got Neg sitting out on the right.
It's probably just a 1-minute break usually.
Okay, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee. Be right back.
Sure. Guys, if you want to check it out, Upswing's running a big sale right now. Their Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale. It's 25% off. I believe it's all the courses. You can save up to $250. I am dabbling in the Dougie Dan course right now. It's the new Heads Up course. I like it a lot, and I really didn't know too much about Heads Up poker before this, except for tournament. I think it's a really good introduction to it. They go over ranges. There's a lot of charts to look at, and just overall strategy. So I'd recommend that one. 94 my tennis says should be 1,137% off. Don't you mean 1,337% off? If any of you guys have questions for Doug, he's probably going to wander into our chat at the end of the stream. Just tweet them at me. I'm going to look at Twitter at the end of this match, and I'll relay the best questions to Doug. Or questions for Schulman, too. We don't often get a couple hours of Nick, so if you have questions for Nick, we'll make him answer it, too. I'm signing you up for all kinds of stuff while you're gone.
I mean, sign me up away. Looks like a couple single raise pots here. Couple winners for Doug for micro stakes.
Yeah, I wish we knew all the details of the Perkins bets and all the crazy, like, side action with Daniel, because I think there's a chance that this goes 25K hands,
Yeah, I
depending
think
on how much was bet and what the details were. Did you hear about any of that on Twitter?
not really. I mean, I know Perkins is betting on Negs and
Mhm.
sort of rooting for Negs, right? And I know he's everywhere. I mean, I'm betting with Perkins. He doesn't even know. So you can imagine how I have a piece of like, and I'm bet like the biggest bet of my life. It's just like a piece. So I think Perkins is
That's kind of a brag though to even have a bet with Perkins, because 'cause I've seen him just shower the peasants so hard. Someone's like, "Yeah, I'll bet you," and he's like, I don't think we're gonna come to the same amount."
yeah. Well, no, I snuck in there. I just have a
Yeah.
piece of somebody betting with him. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let me just, yeah, close the shade.
Three bet call, half pot call, I believe. Okay. Interesting turn. Pretty good turn for Doug's range, I think. I mean, we have to fear the three is smidge, but the overpair advantage is the real deal here. Even though we're still playing heads up, so obviously he has non-overpair kind of things. But that's pretty big on turn again, and Daniel could be in some weird spots here with, you know, calls and okay. Something like a 3/4 SPR. I mean, and Doug's bluffs are things probably like King X of diamonds, perhaps Ace X of diamonds, the 4/5 suiteds that keep barreling, and the bottom of his value range might be King 10. Winner, we'll never know. Pretty quick fold there from Negs. He might have had
Yeah.
backdoor diamonds himself because it was something like a snap fold where all two pair have to think a bit. Three bets on the right. Kind of feels like Doug brought his A game today, but that's so silly to say. So results oriented. Every time he just wins a pot, I'm like, he's just playing perfect. But
There's been, I mean, I love Doug, I'm good friends with Doug, but there is definitely on both sides, the person who just won the last session is, like,
oh,
riding high. They're like,
oh,
"I got this, let's play 100,000 hands, let's" like, there's so much back and forth. After the live part, Daniel's just like, I don't know, I feel like he could have taken on, like, Mike Tyson that day.
oh, totally. Comes with 40% with King 3, gets picked off by the 5 of hearts. Jack good too, so however you want it. Check call there from Doug. Didn't see the line, but you could probably find leads here for sure.
It's because our brains just can't handle, like, we can't understand variance, it's impossible. It's so hard to tell when you're running really good, especially in heads up, right? You could feel like you're
Totally.
steamrolling someone, they could just have, like, 5 high every hand.
Yeah, they just have dust every hand. That's the most insidious of the kind of variance card
Mhm.
distribution. It's like drive yourself crazy thinking about it. Really big raise from Negs here on the right. See. And like, do you want a 7 here? Do you not want a 7? Do you want a 3? Do you not want a 3? These really are the questions. I mean, because Doug
Personally,
Otter.
I want a 6.
Yeah, I want a 6 too. Yeah, and a Jack. Yeah. Oh
Oh.
my, and Doug's capable too. I mean, Doug comes with the block jam. The
Mhm.
block jam is a beautiful play and no limit. Uh, and it makes those blocks more respected and stuff. But yeah, okay. Well, micro says, show us one time, Doug. No, all right. Yeah, we won't ever know, but that was really nice. Nice sizing choice from him. How it's
Mhm.
so annoying when a guy goes 20% pot and then jams on you. I mean, so
Yeah, and Doug had done that. There were 2 hands toward the end of, the last session I called, it was about a week ago, where he made one of these, like, 1/3 or 1/4 pot river bets, and I was like, "That's a weird sizing, that's not a Doug size." Daniel raised, and Doug just jammed it down his throat twice.
was that when he had 7/8? One of them was 7/8. It was like 5/6/9 small, small. He came with
Yes,
1K
yes, that
into
was. He made the nuts on the
3,500,
river.
4,200, 18K out
Yeah.
of nowhere. Like, and that river size was really sexy. I think it kind of unblocks two pairs. I was just thinking about it, like going small with a straight is kind of logical because they raise
Mhm.
two pair now. And then you can, where if you go big, probably 2 pair just calls on straight boards. Overbet on the turn there, yeah, all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when the challenge is over. I was hoping Doug would go through some of the biggest pots, and the weirdest hands they played. I don't know if it'll happen. I mean, Doug was so over poker before this, but if he wins a cool millie, I think he might be less over it.
and enough with your boy being over poker every other year. We get it. We understand, Doug, but just that we need you to make
Mhm.
videos and to play. You're the supreme leader. Just relax. You didn't choose the game chose you, Doug. Just please,
I miss
just
the
keep
videos
playing.
so
And if
much.
you
Yeah.
want to retire and all that, just do it on the sneak, and just
Mhm.
hang around though. Enough with just the nonsense. But yeah, I can't wait to see Doug's post-mortem kind of analysis videos and stuff. They're going to be tremendous.
Yeah.
Looks like 3-bet check on the right. Believe checks again. He's high good. Possibly the 8 good. I feel like as played, if Doug has something like Jack 10, which I don't know if it takes that line, but you could just go small here, I think, and just kind of target the other Jack 10s. Like, yeah, this size seems good because you have some just air bluffs that don't really want to get too invested, but can just stab. How wide Daniel calls here, but it's just dice. Seems just like a nice line from Doug. Yeah, he has Queen 10, and well played from Daniel for clear-cut reasons he induced. So really nice.
Good read on your part, though, for Doug's hand.
Doug just never has anything. It's not so hard. Just assume he's bluffing.
You pretty much pinpointed the nothing that he had, though. I think that's pretty impressive.
3-bet Papa. Thank you. Yes. Monotone here, probably small.
Does it factor in to your decision making when it's a monotone board, but it's Jack 9-6 rather than something like Jack 6 deuce?
It certainly does. I mean, just based on just range construction, if they can now have all these straight draws. But I think sizing wise, it doesn't really make a difference with heads up ranges where more condensed ranges it might, but I'm not sure. It wouldn't factor more into my decision making than I think we'd all be thinking about the possible straight draws, but I think the mechanic remains the same on monotone. You get to just go real small, and this is spice. Check call twice. I feel like this is an overbet kind of river. I mean, even an 8 is in the blender versus like 2x or something. I wonder. And Doug's choices might be things like the Queen of Diamonds or King of Diamonds. I mean, just comes with something kind of friendly. King 3 offsuit, so I mean, it's an interesting line. I mean, at first glance, it looks so dusty, but I think it's a kind of common sort of mechanic where that 3 isn't interfering with anything, which is usually good in terms of finding bluffs, even though it can be counterintuitive. And it's usually if you don't block anything, it's good. Start bluffing. And then the king, like maybe not having the King of Diamonds there is good. It's also weird. So anyway, collect that line for yourselves and think about it. Think about Doug's line. It's interesting.
I'm glad he didn't go for the overbet bluff.
I don't know. I mean, 3x. I mean, I don't know if Daniel could have pulled it off with 3x. And I don't know if Doug was trying to exploit the end or if he just thought that that was the idea, theoretically. Not sure. Third here. Oh, big one brewing. What happened here? Probably 3-bet bet call, check call. Sorry, guys. It happens so fast sometimes, just under our noses. But 25K out there, certainly 3-bet and certainly some chips went in on the turn. So we're all in the same boat. And we got the little stab. This guy's so annoying. Goes big, goes small. This is so tilty when you have like 7s with a diamond or something. It's just like and winner, and
Yep.
snap raise also. He really does get on top of you. I don't even know how he got that 9-10 in there so quick. Is that a hotkey or is he typing it in? Like, how did he do that?
Oh, you were talking about Among Us earlier. I didn't know that you could, like, set keys to do stuff. I'm just like, "Oh my god, I'm going by a person and I can't kill them because 'cause I'm not fast enough." So then they know I'm trying to kill them, and then I would get murked.
Oh,
Um,
I'm
I didn't know
constantly.
all the tricks.
Yeah, like light work. Why were you following me around? Like, I'm like, what, dude? What do you mean? Why were you following me around, my man? I'm the worst, though. I'm so bad. But
Are
anyway,
you?
I'm
You have the love of the
terrible.
game, though?
Firstly, I'm often too stoned to play Among Us. Some late night Among Us going on, so they asked me for my Pathic. I just don't have it. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just the worst all across the board. But anyway, got the 20% tickle there from Negs left. And the min raise from Doug. You love to see it. You really do. I mean, it's because it gets a little into that meta kind of realm.
Mhm.
I don't even know, and he's been so disrespectful of the 20% just today with the 7-8 one heart peel and the 8-10 peel that, you know, now he comes with just over half winner. Interesting.
I really think they should at least have audio of each other, like little kids have their headsets and they trash talk while
Yeah.
they play Madden. That would just be so enjoyable. Like, even if we don't have the audio feed, just knowing that Doug's, like, laughing as he min raises.
Oh man, I would love to watch Doug like just being an animal during this match. Like, you know him a lot better than me, but
Just
is
sitting
he
in
like
his tank top, like, 3xing pots.
is he like a hyper focused, don't say anything guy, or is he like happy go lucky while he plays? I sort of see him as the latter, but it's probably in
I would be
between.
surprised if he took it too seriously,
Yeah,
because
that's
he had
fair.
a couple of times where he lost and he still had an interview and he was just fine. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think he takes it too hard.
rebound on the left.
Jimmy's in our ear right now pointing out a good thing though. He had actually posted a video about that too, not during this match, but that he was, like, screaming "fold" as loud as possible over and over again as the time bank ran down
A
during a
little
different
north of the
challenge.
quarter. Yeah, he's obviously insane. You don't get to be where he is. I mean, without yeah. Yeah. Screaming fold, it's very pure too. I used to never do that, but I do that stuff now. You could just scream for what you want to happen on mine. It's perfect.
Mhm.
No repercussions, no nothing.
It's gonna be pretty weird when we go back to playing live someday though. I'm just so used to not hiding any emotion at all.
I know. So we got 3-bet, little over quarter on flop, check turn. We have this situation on the right, negs with the 4x,
Mm.
little north. I mean, definitely a lot of bluffs possible on a board such as this. Four spades, I don't know. Um, check, check, turn on the left. Spice abound. I wonder if Doug thinks Daniel is under bluffing this spot or possibly over bluffing this spot. Even if you think somebody under bluffs, not saying that he does winner for Doug, maybe Daniel could have done something, but he probably had some showdown himself. Yeah, just wonder what's going through Doug's head right now. If he's trying to come up with a strictly theoretical solution on his end, or how
Mhm.
much of does Negs overtake this or undertake it? See, man.
It's really hard to tell if DNegs is under bluffing or if DNegs is making small river bluffs and they get raised by Doug so often that we just don't see bluffs being shown down.
Sure. Winner for Negs. Well done. I mean, we'll never know. Three bet. Negs is marinating over that 40% on left folds. Okay.
What's your life like now that you're a dad? Do you have to just, like, really, really think before you 2x pot in a river with just 6
Yeah,
high?
you
Like,
know what? You know what? That one, I would definitely empathize a lot more with the parent kind of gamblers than I ever used to.
mhm.
Because that one, I mean, no, you can't, but at the same time, I'm an actual like person now. I never
Mhm.
really was before. I just play the game and
Mhm.
try to keep waking up in the morning. But 3-bet here at check. I think you'll see a lot of that on this board. But it's a beautiful thing, you know. And, yeah, I think it makes me take life a little more seriously now, which is probably
You can what? Couldn't hear you.
take things a little more seriously.
Mhm.
Even poker, you know. Okay, got a check call check. Probably a good card for Daniel, but it's not like Doug can't have a 10. But seems like a barely off kind of card. Although Negs might just have showdown here a lot where he's content to whatever. Let's see. 3-bet on the right, ace, king, queen, checks.
D-Nix could also just be letting Doug blast off, right?
He could, and I wonder for Doug if it's easy to throw ace king around. I know these are heads up ranges, but I wonder what ace king does here as played. I don't probably something like this, but I'm not sure.
Ooh.
It was
Not
that
feeling
way.
dirty.
We thought it was the other one way, but it was the other way. So take it. Looks like 3-bet check, check, check call, friendly-ish. That was flop rather. Next bet flop. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Might be wrong about that, but I think it was 3-bet check call on flop.
For all the complaining people do about WSOP, I'm okay with the software. I feel like it's reliable enough. Just the replayer. It's only the replayer that I would change. So tilting.
King
It
jack
either
good.
goes at warp speed or like snail's pace. Those are your options. And if you just let us see like 2 hands back, even 2 hands back would be nice.
And I'd love to see them, re-allow chat, but
Yeah.
I would love chat, but I agree. I think the software is actually really good. I
Mhm.
like it. But just chat, yeah, you gotta, it's
Yeah,
so.
I think they made a mistake there. I know that some people are like really out of line, but they get ignored anyway. People who are
Yeah,
like they're like racial slurs and all the dumb things that people try
that's
to.
all right. I mean, so but then ban their chat, but I mean, or whatever. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's like,
Mhm. I think they're trying to protect recreationals from like the bad parts of poker, but I think it's mostly Rex who talk to each other in chat. I think they like it. And taking it
yeah,
away was not that smart during the World Series, especially.
no, I like just like uninhibited speech versus like protecting people. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's a poker site. I mean, these are, we're talking about the biggest degens in America.
Yeah.
Small one on the left, small one on the right, micro stakes in the tank.
It
What is
reminds me
that?
of I was doing a stream once where there are all these rules and they were like, don't talk about drinking, don't talk about gambling. I'm like, what?
What do you want me to
Like,
talk about?
I was like, what is this, like a Pokemon stream? I'm like, I think these are adults watching this.
Yeah. Comes with 3/4 on the left. I think you can go small too. Both seem cool. I know this board in a 3-bet pot, you go small, I believe, or just check, which seemed counterintuitive until that's BB button though, but kind of interesting. Like you just don't go big on the flop at 100. Looks like single raise, small bet flop. Interesting. King check seems, I don't know. I mean, ace high check calling you and trying to pick off the middly pairs is a real thing.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a snap check, I think I don't know, actually. It's interesting. Queen, jack, 3, jack, queen. I mean, what calls you? You're really targeting only ace high, but maybe even a little bit of king high. Maybe. I think you can bet the end for value there if you're next, I think, but no.
It would kind of be a hard board for Doug to bluff, wouldn't it? Because D-Negs is so capable of having that crushed, like having the
Yeah.
whole board smashed.
Yeah, it's as played, negs can easily have a queen.
Mhm.
So it would be an awkward board for Doug to bluff. But
Yeah,
the
so I
thing is,
think then like value betting kings is probably pretty good, I would
I'm
think.
just trying to get paid by an ace. Yeah. Awkward spots to bluff haven't always stopped Mr. Polk before. I believe he raised this turn.
That is a very
You
good
know
point.
what I mean? Like,
Yep. He has a way easier fuck it trigger. Like
totally.
mine, it's like I have to be losing for a month. I have to just be like, all right, like let's just burn it all down. Doug's is just like,
Ooh, Doug with the world on the turn and it came in. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'll never forget Doug. Like he was just kind of on top of the world poker wise everywhere, and he was in the World Series in the 10K 08, like ring 08, just wearing shades, playing so just bad, but just laughing. Like he raised the cutoff one hand with like 4-4-9-10 Badoogie. I was like, man, this guy just has this guy is just feeling himself so much. Just respect.
just,
And now he's like an amazing mixed game player, by the way, on the low, shorthand.
oh yeah, I think well he has llama in his corner. I feel like
3-bet, big bet. Yeah, llama's an animal. I mean, you
yeah.
know. So okay,
I'm
3-bet,
just
big
picturing.
bet flop.
Sorry, I'm just
No.
still dying thinking of Doug playing limit 08 and having fun.
Like 9-handed, and imagine him putting beats on like those weathered mixed game players. It was insane when he would like
That's great.
scoop with something crazy. I mean, I thought there was going to be a homicide in the Rio.
They're the grumpiest people. It's insane.
Oh, they are. So 3-bet, 3/4 flop call, and now this, the 40%. This strikes me as weird, but
Yeah.
you know, it might be okay. But this seems like a polary kind of board. But let's see. I mean, SPR under 1, the 3-better is bet flop, bet turn. 3/4 them 40. And this river, which I believe favors Doug, but it could be close. I mean, if a jam and a snap fold, take it down next. Some much needed momentum. It's been kind of dry for him. So and maybe that 40% picked up a kind of straggly sort of call that it shouldn't have. Probably not. I mean, but you know, it does seem like Doug with the small sizings is anyway, 3-bet on the left. Comes with 40 some odd percent winner.
I have a sort of brag, but it's not even really a brag because I just got lucky for 2 days straight. But I have an 08 title, having no clue how the game works.
Oh, dude. That's
At
got
Venetian.
raw talent. That's got
Yeah,
raw
talent.
08 talent.
I said wheel probably 25 times in 2 days. I was like, wheel? And they were like, yeah, you get the pot. I'm like, okay. They were so grumpy though. I even said at the final table, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna bad beat you and I won't even know that I bad beat you. And they were still mean to me.
They're the worst people on earth.
But you play a ton of
Yeah,
mix, right?
I
You play a
do,
lot.
myself included. Yeah. No, I
You
mean,
too.
well, limit players, you know, like there's got okay value pursuit here from Doug, seemingly. I mean, it's just, you know, bad beats and limit are so tilty because it's just like there's 80 bets out there, and then like you bet and they tank and then do the little raise on the end for one
And you're like,
more
okay,
bet.
I'm getting like 16 to 1 and I'm supposed to fold.
Yeah, you're constantly getting run down, and it's just
Yeah. And when the guy's like wearing a tank top, shades, and has a faux hawk, it's even worse.
yeah, that seems like the kind of opponent who would not like you sauntering in and making wheels against them. Got the 20% here on the
On
left.
such a draw heavy board, weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems okay, but I don't know. It's his choice. It's obviously a size that he's looked at. I mean, for me, just quarter or third is more not. There is a place for 20, but as you said, I mean, 2 diamonds, straight draws abound. Can probably go small and big on this board, but 20 is just so small. Check, raise, check. Daniel follows suit. And this is a spot where probably you hear from the King 9 and King 10 of micro stakes, although I think the King 10 bets turn a lot. And then you hear from just sort of maybe some of just the Queen X some river, two pair. Let's see. I hope he gets called. He does get called. Jack 8, good. So take it down. We'll never know. I think a lot of people don't find that flop check raise, and some of it certainly is a function of that 20% that we've been discussing, that Doug is going to attack that sizing.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's adding a wrench to the game for sure because I don't know, maybe Doug just hasn't played opponents who are betting so tiny before, so he's trying to figure out what exactly he can do with it. So we've seen
Yeah,
him float it, we've seen him min raise it, we've seen him just barrel off and spaz against it.
yeah. Interesting too to see Daniel taking such a formulaic approach. He's really clearly relying a lot on his preparation, which makes sense because he sort of crammed for this project. I mean, Doug has been doing this his whole life, so to speak. You know, he's gotten the hands and he's been in the trenches. He's battled. He could sit down, play heads up, not even think about it. Of course, we're all studying and trying to get better every day, but the truth is he could autopilot, just kind of do his thing, where I feel like Negs is really grasping for, you know, these theoretical principles, and the foundation of his game is a lot of preparation, and it's kind of interesting to just sort of see it unfold. I mean, it's an amazingly tall order that he's undertook to play, one of the best ever. You know, you can throw all the solvers out the window and all that, not poker wise, but Doug's one of the best ever. You know, part of that is just something intrinsic that can't be, you know, things have evolved, but
Yeah,
it's
interestingly enough, though, I think his preparation was like probably more intense than he had even thought it would be. When he rose to the top, and even when he made his upswing course, solvers were just not big yet. It was like right before that time. So I feel like Doug had to teach himself how this all works too. It wasn't like he's starting from a foundation that's still completely relevant.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I for sure some of the mechanics of why the solvers do what they do, Doug
Mhm.
figured out on his own
For sure.
years
Like, didn't
ago.
he make his own, like he was training people, he had his own stable, and I think he, like, pretty much did the solver work before it even existed.
Filthy. I mean, some ideas way ahead of this time, and with the data mining and with the looking at stats and all this and adjusting your play. I don't mean data mining in a negative connotation, but just, you know, working on his game away from the table. He was ready for this era of poker for sure, you know, just
Mhm.
naturally three bet here, big sizing on the left. So that small paired board again, but this time with a flush draw, double flush draw now. Some spice. See. And Daniel with a fairly quick call on the flop. You know, I mean, not a huge deal, but in these heads up matches, you were saying this before they started too. At the match, if it goes really long, it might favor Doug because he's been in the heads up streets kind of more than Daniel in his life. You know, you got to
Yep.
watch for timing tells a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like you give those off mostly when you're, like, a little bit tired. You have so
Exactly.
many things you're trying to focus on, your brain's tired, so it's like that's one thing you just click the button, you're like, "Oh, shit."
Exactly. And this is a weird river. Daniel has more flushes. That ace, you know, forgive the obvious, is a key card as far as each range's potential flushes. And the caller of the three bet has more flushes when the ace comes out than the three better. Um, although it might not be that stark because they'll still three bet middly kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, chop it up. It all makes sense.
Speaking to Doug's preparation though, it was funny to talk to him so much during it because people on Twitter kept saying, "Oh, he keeps advertising that he's losing at this stake or he lost to this person. Like clearly he's just trying to get more money on it." And then Doug's in chat being like, "I just lost this guy at 1020. Like what the fuck?"
Yeah.
So there
Right.
was no like he wasn't trying to get more money on it or anything. He was just getting back into poker after having not played for 2 years.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, lots of respect for people who can just sit down for, like, a month or 2 straight and just like, you talk about Land and Tice a lot. Big fan, love the
Love
GOAT.
that. Of course.
But I have so much respect for that because he came on my pod and he was talking about very casually just, "Yeah, I was playing, like, micros for 10 months until I got to this level, and then, my backer let me move up 1 level." And I'm like, he's saying that like it's a short amount of time. That's not a short amount of time. When you're sitting there at, like, 100 NL or something forever. Like, I
No,
just feel
without
like he's done so much work.
Without a doubt. And I mean, one thing Landon has that you're going to see in all kind of great players or players who seemingly are so wildly talented is it's his happy place. He loves it. He's just playing a game. He's
Hmm.
not really like I was fighting Landon the other day, play 4 tables of 255. He was streaming and stuff, and I hopped on a little and just, and then he'll turn around and play 50, 100 or whatever. Like he just loves to play. And I think a lot of us kind of have lost sight of that and then refound it, that most of us got into this because it's fun.
Yeah.
So it's when you really love No Limit too, it can become a bit like a video game. It's not all about the context, but yeah, 10 months just grinding. Okay, take it down, eggs. He's definitely a workhorse.
Yeah. He rubbed off on me too, because I kind of lose it sometimes. I'm like, especially when there's no live poker to play, it can get a little dull and like repetitive. And after interviewing him, I was just like, I just cannot wait to sit down and learn some stuff. And I'm like, how did he do that?
No, he really is like his energy for poker is so contagious. Like it's great. 3-bet here from Douglas. Okay.
Oh, first 4-bet from Daniel, right?
First or second? Maybe the first. What's the deal with Doug here? 10s plus, ace queen sometimes. Ace 5 suited sometimes.
He has found flats in places where I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a fold or a get in. I'm just not used to him flatting always. And the one time it was like massively inflated pre, and he just had queen jack off. And I
Right.
was just like,
We had
what?
9-6 off.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the 5x on the right. We got the 20% on the left. This sizing is very conducive with a 4-bet pot. And let's see. Suppose Doug could have a little bit of ace-ace. He could also have that 5. He could have 5-6 suited.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like a low frequency call pre, or is that you just mix that in with your really good traps?
I think it's pure after 3-betting.
Oh yeah, I guess it is kind of small. It was like 41 to 10, right?
Yeah, like the 4-bet style that has become fashionable is a very small one. But we'll look, and he checks. This is interesting. Well, there's that queen jack off that you were talking about, Jamie.
Yeah, chat. If you guys want to know what Doug has in any hand at any time, just ask me. And
that was spooky. You know the man here. Wow. And well played from Nag. Seems normal. Yeah. Straight good.
So what's the deal with the small 4-betting? If he just has so many good hands that he's just inducing a call of 6K. Is that the idea here?
I think position is so valuable. It's such a great spot to kind of, and I think at this depth, the smaller. I was talking to Chewy about this the other day because he went on a really deep dive looking at some Munker outputs where at deeper stacks, it's actually 3-betting and 4-betting smaller. And it's sort of like, why, you tell me at the same time, we can all try to work out why together. I think at these depths, it's not, so there aren't annies. It's not so much we want it right now. It's more that we want to retain the flexibility of our range to do this in position. And in position, it's a massive EV kind of thing. And I think that that's one of the underlying ideas, of many. And it seems when you defer to computers and give them a bunch of options, they tend to be like, yo, we're a fan of this 2.3 or whatever. And it's like, all right, there's probably ideas about just all the possible iterations of what might go down. Full pot here on the right, winner.
It's so tough with solvers and stuff. I have trouble remembering stuff unless it makes sense. So it's like I can't just accept it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's 20% here. I'm like, please just give me any bit that will fit into my poker knowledge for why, and then it becomes part of what I know, but it's so hard for me. I think some people can just accept it, memorize it, and then become a machine.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that's a really a morsel of wisdom, what you're saying, though. Three bet check here on the right, like understanding why the mechanic is what it is, or when you have that aha moment, like, ah, that's
Mhm.
why this card goes so hard, because you want them to have all of these or whatever. That is the meat and potatoes of kind of the pursuits. It's very hard to retain it all. Just memorize the
Yeah.
spot. Check call here from Negs. That's a very, very good turn for Negs, just because of the ace king advantage. It doesn't mean that you're just a snap all in, but that's probably the best card in the deck for Negs. So let's see.
Ooh, let me
Winner
snag
there on
that
the left.
replay.
Big one on the left. What happened there?
I got it. Woohoo!
Probably a three bet. That Jack 7 off does get in there. Those middly offsuit hands that are so unpleasant actually do three bet sometimes. This
Actually,
is
it's just a
fun.
single raise pre, check, check, flop. Daniel bet turn is a call, and then an overbet on the river, and Doug called.
Wow. Negs.
Spicing it up.
Very spice. So here we have check call of almost full pot. This is spice. Daniel could have things like top pair, could have over pairs. I think he's got the ace king with the
Wow.
spade. That is vicious for Negs, and very ambitious from Doug, actually. I guess he's just getting it in on turn. I don't really like, or maybe not like is the wrong word. Sorry. I don't really understand Doug's turn procedures there. It's such an amazing card for Negs, and I don't know if Negs can lead, but he can certainly check pile. I think maybe you want to pile without the ace of spades. Anyway, take it down, Doug. Brutal hand for Negs.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, this is the upswing stream, and when Doug wins, we just go, "It must have been amazing."
Sorry, what was that?
I was just say
Turn
we're
that
a very
phone off.
biased stream over here. So that must have been a really cool play by Doug. He won the pot. Did you miss that?
I saw that part. I think that play from Doug is bad on the turn, but it might just be like great. I mean, he has an amazing hand, but it just seems like that's such a bad card for his range. You do tons of checking. But having said that, you are playing heads up. I mean, he's got value bets worse than ace king. You know, it's not. Tough day for Daniel so far, obviously. I mean, this is a bloodbath. Feels like we just started. I guess it's been 90 minutes, but in a quick 90. 4-bet from the steam could be real. Now, who knows? Negs might just have, Negs might be undone after that ace king. He might have come undone. I mean,
Yes, actually, some of the YouTubes where he loses it, I didn't know that that existed as part of his personality. And it does make me think that tilting is possible then. If you get that mad over a disconnect, like something that happens to every poker player, and it's only a $600 tournament, and he goes, "Wow, losing it."
the tilt could be real. 3-bet winner on the right. 4-bet here. You're going to see a lot of tiny betting here. Wow. I wonder what Doug's most ambitious continues are here. Probably ace queen, even without backdoors.
You have me conditioned to thinking like Jack 10, 10 of clubs. There are so many hands where we're like, what? With the small
Jack
betting on the
9
flop.
with the 9 of diamonds. Just bet on the right call. So 4-bet, check call quarter, check, check turn, and here we are. And he's all in. I mean, yeah, so probably he wants to have something like, well, just take it, Doug. Who knows what he wants to have? Who cares? I mean, just That's
This is fun watching you watch this because you were saying that, like, no hole cards, you just put yourself in the place of the players, and you're getting, like, residual tilt. You see the
I
hand,
am
you're like
getting residually tilted. He's so tough. I feel like I'm like getting beat down by Doug. We're just watching. I mean, but he's been really, I mean, this has been a massacre today so far, and the variance is real. 90 minutes of two tables. Like, we're not saying that this is, but supposing Doug is the favorite and all of that, as the match goes on, it is not inconceivable that he's going to grow stronger and whatever. Four
yeah.
bet here on the left. So perhaps we're witnessing, you know, a wider skill gap than we have before, or perhaps we're witnessing the obscene run goods. Maybe a little bit of both, maybe not. So four bet
There's
here, 5-5-6 rainbow.
there are some intangibles too from just having played heads up for so long, and he's played so many opponents, like, that hand may not have happened that way if the one were Daniel had ace king and made Broadway against the flush of Doug. Like, if that hand didn't happen, maybe this king 6-6 plays out differently. I feel like there has to be some game flow stuff that Doug just, like, pounds him when he's, you know, already tilted.
Unequivocally true. I mean, whether they know it or not, even it's just human, like the game flow rhythm of heads up.
Mhm.
But absolutely, raise here on the right. He raised that 40% kind of bet, kind of a snap fold there from Negs. And I mean, 30K out there, four bet pot, 5-5-6. Not the best turn for Doug. He does check it back. And Negs bluffs are things like Queen 10 of diamonds. Those sort of Broadway check floats on the flop are really the ones now that they just kind of go, I believe. I mean, and this is a weird spot. We've seen Doug make some very ambitious ace high calls. There was
Yeah.
one that he made where you could peel cards off the deck and beat ace king, like where it
Yeah.
was like 4-5-6. So you remember
Didn't
that
Daniel
one?
have
So
deuces or something there? Was
I
it
think
that?
the right idea here is to want to call it a hand like ace queen of hearts. You want to unblock clubs, spades, and diamonds. Ace jack of hearts, king queen. I mean, let's go, dude. This is just getting insane.
Wow.
But that was a very, very theoretically sound call. It's a bit subtle, but that jack of hearts is a massively key card on spade, diamond, club, because you want them to have the jack of spades, diamonds, or clubs. You really don't want that card, and you don't want that card with the queen. So having hearts there was the right idea. And I mean, just beautiful execution there from Doug. I mean,
Nice
it's
call by
getting,
you. That was pretty crazy.
yeah, they
Um,
both had those hands. That is bizarre. But I mean, Doug this has been a beat down. This is like a throw the towel in kind of day. I mean, this
yeah.
is, and it happens playing heads up, but it's really all come in. I mean, so bravo.
How much do you think that actually factors in? Does Doug make that call if Daniel's having a winning session? Is that a
I think
like?
you really had the one, I mean, you beat all of those floats, and the Jack
Mhm.
of Hearts is like a key card of the utmost, but I don't think it check pure calls, but I think it does a lot of calling. You can roll for that with a not so crazy number and call there, I think, under even normal circumstances. Unless he thinks Daniel is in some hyper nitty kind of zone where he's giving up things like King Queen of Clubs, which by the way has showdown. I
Mhm.
think the idea there is more Queen Jack, Queen 10, and Jack 10. I don't think you want that king really at all, but I could be mistaken, and that Middle East situation is good for Daniel's range. But I think King Queen has enough showdown, not much, I mean, but some to where it probably checks and the slightly lower.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll be right back too.
Sure. Sorry, guys. I haven't been in chat as much. I'm enjoying the conversation, but I'll catch up with you guys as much as I can. And I want to remind you guys about the Black Friday sale, 25% off all upswing courses. Um, the heads up one is good, so that's the one that I'm into right now. How sick is Schulman at just knowing exactly what's happening in that hand? Basically putting both players on exactly what they had. That's ridiculous. Um, Hi Jesse. Nice to see you in chat. Profit is profit. 30 minutes of punishment left, boys. Yeah, I mean, this has been a complete massacre today. We've seen it in the other direction too, so it's just, heads up has a lot of variance, but just seems like Doug is playing out of his shoes today. Oh, looks like we got to refresh the stream.
Three bet on both tables.
They are, yep.
Are we off right now?
I think we're on. The stream may have frozen, so if you have Twitch open on your phone or whatever, just refresh.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So we have a 4-bet on the left. So 3-bet on the right call. He's coming with this 32 hundo. 4-bet winner on the left. Pretty wet board. I would think that that's a big bet board, but I could be wrong. There might be room for that, but it seems like, got that try straight draw situation, but okay. The jack is anyway.
Thank you, Clayton Comic. He said we're top GTO commentary team ever. I think that's mostly Nick.
What up, Clayton? Pretty scary run out for Negs' range, but you could definitely see Doug do some annoying things here. Checks. Probably had something like 7-6 suited or just showdown.
Are you getting involved at all in the poker heads up matches, or just doing some commentary?
Which one?
That whole poker go like heads up. I don't know what they were calling it. I forget. But we're Helmy just trash Esfandiari. Are you playing any of those?
I want to. I would love to play Phil, but Poker Go, they kind of keep me. So they have a cage for me in the basement. 4-bet here on the left. I would really love to see young Landon Tice get in there and get a shot.
That would be awesome.
It would be delightful. We'll see. The ball is in Helmuth's court, deservedly so at this point. 4-bet call. Things are definitely heating up a bit. I mean, it feels, wow. Are we seeing this right? Is this 4-bet call lead from Doug? If it is, which I believe it is, raised 3-bet, 4-bet call. Yeah, there's 21 out there. This is incredible amounts of spice. I mean, maybe some function of this particular board. He obviously has ideas. And apologies if I saw that wrong, just because it's so unorthodox.
Is this all in like 1000% of the time?
Approximately. A lot. Yeah, I mean, even Ace King sort of has to call. It doesn't have to call. Never mind that. But I don't know the 7-8 situation. Ace Jack, Queen 10 winner. Wow. I mean, and I don't know about Negs' flop peel against third. It's so weird. Doug is the kind of guy who has days like this because he's so good. He's so annoying. He's so aggressive, and we all knew these big winning days would just flow in like they have for him for his entire career against every opponent that he's played. Digressions, but all-time great player here. And I mean, Negs' flop peel there, 3-bet on the right. Again, apologies if I saw wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 4-bet lead straight away.
Yeah. I just replayed it. Yep, exactly what you were saying. So that Queen 10 lead is like super weird. You think that's a product of an adjustment he's making in game right now for the possible levels of tilt?
I think so, but I might be wrong. There might be a weird mechanic with the queen where it actually hits the 3-bet call. I'm really not sure. It struck me as an incredible amount of spice there to lead into the 4-better. I think most of us dark check that spot. So, I mean, I'm going to save that one and do a little dive later because that was really cool. And Negs' float, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel super pleasant at all. Maybe you could just fold and peel more with backdoors and ace king and stuff, but maybe you can't. And onward, I think he can do some folding. I mean, I don't know because the spot seems so uncharted, just line wise. And again, maybe it's a thing, I mean, poker's so hard. Micro Stakes is unconscious today. He's just
This
like
is
in the
insane.
zone,
Yeah.
man.
I kept saying before today that I thought that the match may go the distance because I think Perkins gave Daniel some incentive to play the whole thing, like
We have
10 to
a
1.
min raise. Sorry to cut you off, Jamie,
Oh, no,
but we
go ahead.
have the min raise 3-bet going on. That might be a misclick, but I don't know what the story is. Maybe he's got the laptop out just punching in min raise. I mean, and I say that with, with peace and love. I mean, I get it. This has been a very tilty day for Negreanu.
Yeah.
I mean, this is rough. So we have the min raise check. I mean, yeah. Is this 3-bet? Okay, well, probably 3-bet and something. Maybe bet call check. That would make sense. Apologies.
And Doug had mentioned wanting to play more tables. I'm like, how? There's just fast action on each one so often. It's crazy to me to think of putting up 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 would be like kind of unwatchable, except for the diehards, I feel.
Yeah.
Which makes sense from Negs. We can think of some bluffs for Daniel, but this is dicey. The 6, 7, 7, 8 stuff, and then like the Jack Queen kind of stuff. Maybe with one club. Those 6, 7, 7, 8s are often just like diamonds or hearts, but Doug might have an ace. I mean, give the obvious, but okay, little momentum there. Nags, little bit.
Everything Doug does is just a little trolly. I'm such a fan. Like how he changed his avatar to the American flag.
Yeah, he's relentless. I mean,
I miss making videos with him when we would do like crypto, especially because there was just so much to clown on in the crypto sphere. It's like it was
yeah, yeah. He's like Takashi 6ix9ine, kind of, but more talented of poker.
Yeah, it was nice to have. Obviously, Thomas is the goat, the actual video
Thomas
editing
is the
goat.
goat. I mean, I finally got a chance to work with him a little bit recently. That's the real deal.
Because he's an amazing video editor, but he also just has his own like amazing sense of humor. So there's never a need to explain what kind of joke you're thinking about or whatever. Cool.
And you're like Richard Pryor on the low too back there. The whole team is insane. You guys are doing it all, man. I mean, it's like it's all
It was
happening.
my favorite job, like my favorite little. It was short lived, just a couple years, but really fun.
Yeah. Maybe there'll be a, 4 is good. Yeah.
I think Bitcoin is doing too well for Doug to need to make videos.
We need Bitcoin to go to 0. I can't take all these smug. I can't handle it, and I didn't get in when I just don't enough with the Bitcoin, please. I can't take it. Not that I'm living in the past, Jamie. We're here now. No.
I feel yeah. I feel like no matter what, even if you have a little, you tried so many smart people telling me.
I had people telling me to get it when it was like $20. I mean, this is like $100. And I was just blowing money everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
brutal.
Yeah,
but you know what? Then you would never commentate, right? You would just to commentate, and we need you.
No, I'd be happy to have never commentated. Just got in on the. No, I mean it's all relative. Lots to be thankful for. Dougie takes it down on the left. Negs with the 20%. This is a big bet kind of board in different, more condensed range spots, but here heads up is murkier, but like under the gun BB, ace queen 3 rainbow, under the gun likes to go full pot a lot. Where a lot of people stab small, but actually pot is for choice, which is a little bit sneaky, but heads up, it's different. And now we got the big overbet. I mean, it's a spice. Okay, winner. Single raised here. Doug comes with his patented, whatever that is. What's your favorite form of poker, Jamie? No limit tournaments?
Not anymore. I really like cash. I
Cool.
really miss playing live cash. I play mostly tournaments just because they're the most beatable, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd prefer to just sit and grind cash. I don't know.
No, I feel you on that. I mean,
You're Bobby. Oh, first, let's just say how ridiculous it is that they're trying to change the name of Bobby's Room.
that's a
Um,
disgrace. I don't care if the
yeah.
guy works across the street and tries to put you out of business. I mean, that's Bobby's room.
Yep.
Just accept it.
Yeah. But that's your main spot, right?
I guess so. Although, yeah, I mean, I kind of just bob and weave depending on a lot of things. My passion is No Limit Hold'em. Honestly, just I enjoy it. That's like my video game kind of escape sort of
Mhm.
world. 7K out there. I do love mixed games. It's just they haven't been really going lately, for obvious reasons. So it's kind of on standstill here. Daniel with the stab, or not the stab, rather, but this. Yeah, this guy just doesn't stop. Who knows? Who knows
Can't
what Doug
imagine how many
has?
truck noise.
There
Oh
it
my
is.
god.
That's the thing too. Like you start calling him and he just has it. It's like, all right, buddy, just take it. I mean, he's
And
tough.
you'd think he'd have way more value than maybe even normal right now. If you think your opponent's tilted, you probably should have value.
Yeah, I wonder, and people forget with Doug, like that's exactly right. And he's sharp, he's a sharp gambler. Like I think a lot of people think he's like a robot for lack of a better or one, he definitely does a lot of robotic things, but he knows what's up with people and with all
Yeah.
that. So maybe he's just got it there right now, I don't know. I mean
It was funny when he was putting out tweets asking if anyone wants to play Heads Up, even when he was playing the small stakes in the beginning. I had a brief moment of insanity where I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go play. We'll just put 1,000. I'm like, why am I going to give Doug money?
Yeah,
So
it's
many
good to
people
give
did it.
Doug Marty seasoning. You got that seasoning, Jamie. 3-bet here.
Yeah, I think it's
Winner.
worth the story, right? If you just like crush his soul, you just be like, yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, Doug's all right, but I beat him.
Absolutely. Yeah, Landon sparred with him and like streamed it. He was so excited, like
As he always is.
as he always is, and I remember that really influenced me because I have a lot of respect for Landon, and he's super young and just so into it. And I was like, yeah, what was it like playing Dub, man? How did he feel to you? Because he hasn't played for a while. And he just looked at me, he was like, he's fucking good. And I was like, and then I was like, just okay, let me fill this 4-1 right
Yeah.
now. Like,
Oh yeah, I felt really good about putting money on Doug when Rabashow played Doug, and he just said as soon as he was done playing him, he goes, "Yeah, I want to bet some on Doug. I'm gonna put some money on
Rapid
Doug." And I was like,
check,
"That's
Kevin.
yeah,
Yeah,
huge
I
vote
mean
of
that's
confidence."
another like just world class
Mhm.
endorsement. Like we're talking about world class endorsements. Like that means a lot.
Yep.
But Negs' team is so insulated and mysterious that it's hard to say because they think that they can win too. And make no mistake, this session doesn't mean the match is over. He's very much hung in so far, but yeah, I mean it's a
And
fascinating
I'm
kind of
interested in like checking out the app that they're talking about too, because like if you can get someone to be like really good at Heads Up in a month, like there's something to it, like
facts, by the
Daniel's
way.
playing one of the best players in the world. So, it's not gonna go well all the time, but still, he came in and, like, Doug would say, like, "Oh, his sizings are pretty good, like, he seemed to have a decent handle on this after only a month." I'm like, "What app can you play for a month and then be, like, pretty proficient at the game?"
Here we go again, 20%, which seems counterintuitive on this board and the kind of smallest check raise from Doug, a little under 3x, so not. Yeah, I agree, Jamie. I mean, he was very raw. He was not a heads up player, and now he's hanging in there with one of the greatest players of all time. So I mean, it's amazingly impressive, even at this point. But I mean, let's see. There's a long way to go. It could get really ugly, or he could keep fighting the good fight. I mean, so check raise, check fold there from Doug could be like an 8-9, no spade kind of thing. Hard to know.
Chad is already saying short sesh today. I would assume so. This cannot be fun to be on the losing end of this, and, if I were Daniel, I'd probably wanna cut it short and just, stop the momentum a little bit.
Or maybe Daniel gets himself a nice bottle of tequila
Yeah, right.
and just plays all night.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me. I could see him making a healthy smoothie and, like, munching on some broccoli as he tries to dig himself out of this.
Feel that? I don't know if it's smoothie broccoli time right now. I think it's vodka on the rocks time. Winner there on the on the left.
That's how everyone is, right? Like, if I have a winning session, I would, like, walk out of the Aria and just, like, go eat healthy, go for a few miles. I'm like, "I feel great." If I lose, it's like pizza at
Yeah,
3 AM.
yeah. We'll stab there from Doug on the right.
Strike it up, asked do they have a minimum hand count and time per session. Yeah, 2 hours minimum. They've both been respecting that. A few sessions have gone about 4 hours. I think one, Daniel was up a lot and they kept playing, another was just pretty even, and I think they just wanna get some hands in.
Got the check call 20, check, check, turn in this. I mean, maybe a little bit of neutrality on the flushes because nice. King 8 with the backup. Makes sense. Probably was just going to call a raise and live with it. And 20% again on the right. I don't know. I mean, seems so small. You could, structure a strategy based on third and 75 as well, or 20. It just seems so small at this depth. We're playing super deep. You're often incentivized to put chips in the pot on the button. It doesn't speak to me like just instinctually, but that doesn't mean that much. But I'm sure you could utilize these sizes and not lose EV if it's wildly protected. But sometimes I think you will. And I mean, we have lots of spice going on the right. For 5.5x check raise on a very wet board. And a jam. Nice from Negs. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
know what
the small C bets definitely have been eliciting a response from Doug, turning his
very
aggression up a lot in multiple pots now, and they've worked out in Daniel's favor.
that is true. So we have check call of like 66% on flop. Check. Doug probably barrels a lot of his 7x here, tries to put pressure on like 610 suited and that sort of stuff. Comes with half. See that size a lot on the 4 straight boards. I don't know why, but winner. Comes with that 40% on the left call. Be really interesting if 4 good. Overbet. It's weird because I don't think he goes 40% that much with ace X on a board like this. Well, let's see. Spice. That's not true. He could have ace X. I don't know. All right. Quick fold there from Doug. We'll never know. The devil is with us. The devil has showed up.
Oh, thanks, Lappin Poker. Thanks for joining us. I have not been in the chat too much today because I'm enjoying the conversation. So sorry, guys. I usually read a lot of the nonsense.
I
But
also don't have the chat going, but love you guys. Hope
yeah,
everybody's enjoying the sweats.
I like the nonsense. I like the little copy pastas or whatever you guys call them. There's a lot of silly things. People are asking though, is Doug going to be on after this? That's the plan. As long as there's like no tech issues or anything, we should hear from Doug. Should be fun.
I think he'll be in a fairly decent mood after this.
Yeah, if he sits out this like little post game interview, I don't know which one he'll show up for.
Right.
I always like the Galfond ones where Galfond's like he could win 500K. And you're like, grade your play, and he's like, B minus. I'm like,
Yeah.
shut up, dude.
Yeah. Hate to see what A+ looks like.
Yeah. Doug will give it to us straight.
Yeah, very much an overbet spot here on the left. This is textbook kind of spot where you want to overbet or check. 2/3 on the right. Overbet gets called from Negs. He's gonna have a king a lot, but also just draws and see. Seems like a go ham kind of river for Doug. Is that a snap check though? It is.
Yeah,
And well done. He probably just had a king himself or something of this nature, just based on the snap, maybe even hit the ace. So
Mhm.
and I think Daniel's check call on turn is the right idea, but two pair is such a mysterious kind of hand. You know, sometimes they pure check call, and then some two pairs are just all in. It's like it's hard. Half pot here from Doug. He's very annoying on these boards. It looks like very annoying with he's 4 straight, 4 flush. He's just very pesky in the murkiest of spots, which all great heads up players are.
So a little bit of a comeback for Daniel. He's won about 30K or so back. Just a little daunting looking at micro stakes, 217K on the left.
Doug is a gangster, man.
Do you think any of these challenges are going to happen after this, like Phil Zarian or Perkins?
No, I don't. I don't think Perkins wants this smoke, and I certainly don't think Dan fucking Blazarian is looking to deal with this at all. The answer is no, Jamie. Pot on the turn and then bombs on the river. Jack deuce should take it down, Doug. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, there you just killed all our dreams.
I know. I mean, maybe we'll see. I mean, because Dan was like talking smack a little and then asking Doug for like 80 to 1 or something crazy. It's like,
What you wanted 20 to 1,
I mean,
like 20, I think, right? 20 million
what?
to 1 million.
How do you run your mouth
like
and then ask for 20 to 1? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. I mean, you can give me 20 to 1. I'm still not playing Doug unless it was like 1,000 hands, like just run super hot.
I like you over 1,000 hands getting 20 to 1. Let me know if that one ever comes to fruition. Here on the right, C. I think a lot of checking on this board. Might not be the case. Comes with like a bigger kind of size. Next should have quite a lot of floats here. And you know, like you were saying before, like he might probably just had like king 8 of hearts and like, you know, it can look like you're getting run over when you're just not connecting, which I'm sure is a lot of the story today as well for Negs. I mean, it's been so rough.
That's one spot where commentary helped me a lot with tournaments, with like just being patient, heads up, and not getting down on yourself if you like lose a couple tournaments, heads up at the end, because it's such a small sample. And when you're seeing the cards, you're seeing world-class players play and they just get completely demolished. You're like, okay, like that's part of the game. You just get bad card distribution sometimes.
Totally. It's a cruel sport in a lot of ways. Overbet again from Doug on the left. I mean, I'm really intrigued by his flop over bet kind of strategies and just the way he's utilizing that whole thing. I think it's good. 3-bet here on the right from Neg's winner. In a single raise pot on ace jack 10. I mean, of course, your range is all over it, nuts wise, when you're button and you haven't been 3-bet. So, I mean, Doug has gone over bet flop and 2x pot turn. I mean, he's relentless, you know, leveraging kind of nutted advantages and just all sorts of things. I mean, it's you know, he's got a big arsenal of tricks.
Probably going to be the final few hands here as we're approaching 2 hours. Stick around for the Doug interview, though. It should be a fun one. I'll check your Twitter comments, too, in case anyone has good questions for either Doug or Nick.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Jamie.
Yes.
Glad we finally got in the booth together. Overdue.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing we're missing is the like 8-hour-long session where both people lose their minds. Those are my favorite ones when you and Ollie are in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we have some delirium in our future.
For sure.
Really small bet call here from Doug on the right, 3-bet pot. So interesting. Trying to come in with something workable again. Call. And I suppose Doug has that ace of clubs a hair more, but nothing too crazy. That might not even be the case as played, but obviously a murky spot. Let's see. Comes with full pot. I mean, gets called, just has it. I mean, this has really been something today.
Yeah.
Sure, Nags had the king or the jack just based on the snappuccino. I mean,
I think you're 3 for 3 also on just like some pretty sick whole cardless reads. Pretty good. I'm the type to just guess right once and then never guess again. So
you have the jack queen off. I mean, that's the end all be all of like bizarre hand predictions. Looks like single raise check down on the left, murky on the right. Probably going to see Doug do something annoying. Daniel just leads. Okay. King good. I feel like they might keep playing. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but Daniel
I was feeling it when Daniel was staging a little bit of a comeback. I was like, okay, I could see like that's a place where I would want to play if I feel like I want to minimize this loss and like maybe I'm going to win a few pots before the end. But the ace of clubs hand, I don't know. We'll see. 2 hours is so short.
Yeah, it really flew by. I mean, it really is pretty short for kind of a heads up online session. I guess I'll probably quit, but you know, I mean, Daniel played a lot of all night sessions on the come up. Like he knows what it's like to be stuck in a cash game and not want to quit. That might
Don't we all? That is,
don't we all?
can't get me to like get up and do anything when I'm really having one of those sessions. It's just like my ass is planted in the seat for 10 hours if it's going like that. And then when I'm winning, I'm just like, oh, let's go talk to a friend, go get a drink, whatever. And it's like,
oh yeah, oh, I'm ready to throw my life down the toilet. Like if the session's really going bad, I'm not going anywhere. And you know, if
like,
this
I
is
live
it,
here now.
I'm not leaving. Single raise pot, small bet call, 4 of hearts turn. Maybe Doug can lead a little bit, but why not? Checks.
I had a way more deranged type of thing where I was on it wasn't even for a lot of money. It was a streak of small wins. And I would not leave unless I was winning. So I'd played like a 20-hour session for no reason, just to book like $200.
You're an animal, man. You got a lot of grind too.
Yeah.
We're all nuts. That's the thing. I mean, A lot of you at home watching too are nuts. You're sitting here watching this. We're all crazy. 3-bet check makes sense. Well, Doug's, mystique and just kind of presence has certainly gone up after this session. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the bloodiest session yet?
I think so. Once they do the tally at the end, what is it? It says, yeah, plus 245. I think so. I mean, Daniel had a win that was like close to this size though. One day.
Check twice on the right. See, we have this on the left. And that sizing on the left, I'm not sure about. I mean that genuinely. And the right with the club, I would think we would go for value, but he elected to check, which is understandable as well. Probably all right. And now he checks turn, and this seems like a kind of a go hard turn for Doug sometimes, but he checks it back. About to try to check raise a flush if you're Daniel. I think his range just checks here.
When Doug checks back turn on the left, does he have just a lot of nines, or what is that?
Yeah, I think he has a lot of stuff like that, but also some weirdly good hands, and he can take true showdown value and start turning it into bluffs here, probably at a pretty something like it's hard to kind of find them, but yeah, it's a weird spot. I mean, he has a lot of that stuff as played, but yeah, good question. I mean, it's hard to know. He's so slippery. I don't really think he turns a 9 into a bluff there, but there's got to be some stuff. 10 Jack, 10 Queen comes to mind, but I think that bets turn a lot, but not always.
I think my prediction might be wrong. I'm happy. I'm having fun. I really thought when someone's getting completely wrecked, that's going to be a 2-hour day, but it looks like Daniel might be sticking this out. It's a few minutes over now, and they usually do at least when they do go over a little bit. So
yeah, he certainly might. And likewise, I mean, this is a blast sweating it. I mean, and maybe if he was stuck smallish, he'd call it a day, but the bloodbath, it's hard to quit. It's hard to say uncle too. This is really a very much like, it's so hard. You want to come back, like respect, Daniel, do it. Dude.
And it doesn't really matter. It's different from like when you're sitting full ring and you're stuck, and maybe you're stuck because the game's not that great, and maybe you should get up. They have to complete 12.5K hands. So it's like, what does it matter, right? If you do it now or if you do it later.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, not sure what happened on the right, possibly 3-bet. You're right. I mean, it only matters if you're steaming and you're just blind with steam and it's affecting your player. If you're so angry, you're not being rational. I mean, obviously, but and I mean the old adage is that you should stay when you're winning and quit when you're losing, because you're probably at your best winning, but it's very inhuman for a lot of us. I think most of us, human nature wise, are the opposite.
Yeah.
You have to kind of fight your way through that. 42 hundo into 56, winner. 3-bet on the left.
It's hard to tell when you're making good decisions too. Like that's where I'm like, I'm not an accurate assessor of my play when I'm tilted. So it's like you can think, oh, I don't think I made mistakes, whatever. And the next day you realize like you made a lot of mistakes when you're thinking clearly.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Pretty big sizing there from the right, from Doug. Kind of a polar sort of size. And I believe this is 3-bet check on the left. Daniel checks as well. Comes with full pot on the right, takes it down. I mean, the steamroll kind of continues. The seeming steamroll. No whole cards, as we've said, this, that, and this. But I mean, it's been. Doug could have king queen as played. He's got a 10. Maybe he can't. It's sort of a takeable kind of line though, where you just try to show it down. Probably he just bets flop with king queen. This might be 3-bet call and then check, but okay. Winner. Third pot call on the left. Check on the right. Check again. Two-tone now.
I just feel like every single pot is going up.
Yeah.
There's not been many D-Negs pots the last hour or so.
Sure, what was up with that give up from D-Negs? It doesn't feel right. I mean, to check call 886 with a diamond and then a 10 comes, you know, where you could lead, but he checks, and then to check a river diamond with just queen 9. Maybe he was check raising sometimes or whatever, but I think you have to bluff. I mean, I think that's just a mistake, but unclear. And I don't know what Doug would have done with the river deuce, but onwards. But there could be some demoralization from Daniel where it's been so just brutal for him to say, like kind of what we were talking about, maybe a combo of tilt and like passivity, or, you know, I don't know, maybe he should call it a day, or maybe we're into it, but it seems like a must bluff. And I could be wrong, of course. I mean, winner there. He went with 20% on flop call, so Doug, I guess, can have any two. I mean,
One day when I don't want to commentate anymore, let's call this. Daniel gets one. I'm just gonna read the chat like it's a teleprompter, word for word, until I get banned.
what are they saying? What would get you banned? I mean, what's going on the chat?
I'll read some in a minute, but yeah, usually I'm like, oh, that's funny. I'm like, can't read that. Sometimes I just can't read the person's name. I love chat.
I can't believe I still like don't have a Twitch account, or like just for sweating, you know, like I'm just not in that world kind of, but like I don't know why. I mean, I'm just lazy, I think. Small bet from
There's
there.
too much
20.
stuff. There's too much to pay attention to. You're not lazy. I think there's like 4 or 5 forms of social media, and then if you're going to be like in the streaming streets as well and reading Twitch chat, and it's just like too many opinions at some point.
Yeah, I kind of want to, like, you know, when the homies stream, just have an account to drop a comment here and there, I think is fun. Like when Landon streams, I like, you know, or Chewy sometimes.
Oh yeah, he'd be so happy to.
That's fun, yeah. 10 good.
This is a good one. Bilzerian would wipe the floor with Doug. Doug's up 3 million. Bilzerian made more than 3 billion playing poker.
Yeah, no, that might be true, my friend. Just not against Doug. All right. You understand? Bilzerian would get his ass whooped by micro stakes.
Yeah.
But respect to Dan. I mean, you know, he's obviously done his thing in life across the board.
I don't know. I'm a little sus of some of those claims, because if you really did make like 50 mil in private games, you would never tell anyone.
There's truth to that, but he did do well, and he is pretty open about like only playing like great spots. He's like, it's so stupid not to play a spot that's not amazing. It's like, well, there are people that actually enjoy poker, but Okay. Yeah, I think he's a winning poker player though. But I'm sus of him just across, up and that's walking sus right
Yeah,
there.
in general. He's a great follow though. Obviously, he's a great follow for guys, but I think what you can do to a house. I just look at him like, oh my God, you made like a 15-year-old kid's dream house.
Yeah. Yeah, he really did. Value bet there from Doug. Chop it up, I guess. That's another like seemingly must bluff for Negs, and I'm not sure what's going on flop, but I don't know. I mean, I think King Deuce just has to bluff the end there as played. It does have showdown, and it's easy to start piling on the guy who's losing and, overlooking for mistakes. So you want to remain objective about things, but I think when you check call ace five, seven or whatever it was, and then the middle straight card gets there and the spades get there, and you have King Deuce where King bigger card is quite real. I think you have to bluff. But
What about when Doug's like river raising frequencies are so high? Like, do you then just go, okay, I hope I just hang on with King Deuce and not get raised off of this?
I think if you start doing that, you've kind of lost already. And
Yeah, you're just like passive.
and I don't know if Doug's river frequencies are so high. I think they're just great, so like no, but like they might be high because they feel that way to me too. But maybe they're just he finds the ones that are uncomfortable, but you need to do what needs to be done. You need to do your thing too, and maybe start heroing them a little wider if keep them in line. But I think if you have a mandatory bluff combo, those you need to find because it can get ugly without. And King High might have had enough showdown. I don't think so, but maybe it did. But between that and the Queen Nine, I got a feeling that one of them will stab. But onward, 3-bet here, monotone, Queen 9-3. 4-bet on the right. Checks, pretty common on these flush drawing boards. And maybe we'll finally have that pre-flop all in, Jamie. Nope, but we do have a call.
And that 4-bet had a little more meat on it than previous ones, I guess because they're getting a little bit deeper.
Yeah,
50K.
exactly. Curious to see the size here. I'm not sure what's up with this board. Okay, it does still come with like very small, which seems cool, but seemingly a quite nice sort of board texture for Negs' range. Okay. I think you want to jam a lot of your air here with your Negs. It's hard to have air, but yeah, I mean, King, Jack, King, Queen kind of stuff. Some of the more obscure stuff. I think that's the idea here.
Would he have sets like 10s, 9s, and 8s there, or is that not something? Would that be getting in pre?
No, he could have sets for sure. He could definitely have sets.
So you said that Poker Go keeps you in the basement. Are you there now?
This is actually the Poker Go basement. Yeah, no, they don't know about this. So,
At least they gave you a plant, That's nice.
yeah. Oh, I'm kidding, but I mean, I would love to play the duel, honestly. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us would. I mean, it's a cool format. You should get in there, Jamie. Go
Yeah.
wax Helmuth on TV. I mean, it'll be sweet.
Yeah, I'm sure. After watching this, I'm just learning everything Doug does, and I'm sure I'm picking it all up, and I'm ready.
By the way, maybe. I mean, definitely got Doug in your corner. That's a big one. Sevens and fives. Okay, chop it up.
The other stream, Saw for Why I had a stream where, someone told me Christian Soto was like, "I'll challenge Jamie Kerstetter," and I'm like, "What?" Like, he had a beef with Doug and he challenges me. I was like, "I will challenge your mother."
Oh yeah, shots fired. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you got a beef with Doug, challenge Doug. I mean,
Right?
yeah. But a re-challenge issue to his mother speaks for itself, Jamie. So,
Yeah,
you're in these streets now, right?
sure.
All the beefs in poker need to be sorted out via heads up. I mean,
Yeah. I want there to be, like, an MMA component, perhaps some Scrabble, a mile race, like, give me a
press,
shot.
press conferences too, just MMA style,
Yeah,
like it all needs to happen. I mean,
we need a weigh-in, and then when they're, like, 1 centimeter, they're gonna kiss. We need one of
yeah,
those.
yeah, yes, we do. So Nex is still here. I mean, he's still here battling.
Yeah. Yeah, my read was way off. That was
I mean, it's only
that would
20
have
minutes
had me.
over, but got third here on the right. Call. Six is good. Six is with a 10, but bravo. Good value bet.
That's a spot where Doug definitely has a leg up from what I can tell. He's just making thinner value bets and getting paid, and Daniel's missing some, seems like.
Yeah, I could see that too. Doug definitely seems like a master of the thin value bet for sure. Full pot here on the left. The thin value bet is cool because it allows you to now bluff with those small sizings, and it's like when you know the guy can have fourth pair or whatever, it's tougher when
It's
than
a
when they're
bit,
folding.
like, rattling for an opponent too because you can only make them when you're so sure in the hand, and, like, you can extract value out of, like, ace high when you have fourth pair. I always feel kinda bad when I pay off one of those.
Right, right. 75% there from Negs. The left, 3-bet on the right, I presume. Looks like a slightly smaller 3-bet maybe from Doug based on the pot size, but okay, bets flop. Double flush draw board turn and an ace, so probably a lot of checking here from Doug, I would think, but. And I wonder if this is more weighted just towards value. Maybe not, but I feel like it is. I just feel like he has it. He's so good. I can't, it's very annoying. Got the little tickle on the left here. Just feel like Doug has it with this line a disproportionate amount. Maybe not. That's an obnoxious thing kind of to say and probably just untrue, but just think like this is skewed towards value a little bit for some reason. Micro stakes, man. That's the real deal right there. That's
Yeah.
Holyfield. I mean, yeah.
You're right again. Christian Soto just texted me and said, "Wait a second, I didn't challenge you. Am I getting bad information? Someone's trying to stir the pot, make these like more heads up challenges."
I think it was a good old fashioned pot stir,
Yeah, but you know what? My challenge to his mom still stands. Just
Respect.
call
I mean, and you can't take a challenge off the table. So I like Doug's line there. I think it was a slightly exploity kind of line. I think maybe it's just good because he had trips with a king kicker and like, okay, I mean, we can bet that. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. But take it. I mean, just take it all. We got starting stack on both tables for next. I mean, that's
yeah, that's
truly
brutal.
darkness on the edge of town. There's a darkness on the edge.
It would be sick if they're just like, we're finishing the challenge. We're going straight through. Just play like what 8K hands right now.
Yeah, yeah. What's
I
your
feel like
longest?
there are players who'd be sick enough to do that. Like if it was like Gus Hansen in the challenge, I could see him just being like, "All right, we'll be
Gus
done
is
on Wednesday."
Gus has the strongest physical constitution for that stuff of anybody I've ever seen. You know, just drinks water too and does no pills, no
Seriously, he's just wow.
play for 5 days, nap for 4 hours, come right back, look good too, lifting push-ups, like just it's
Yeah, he
crazy.
looks healthy.
He just works out a lot. He eats salmon and like
Mhm.
4 orders of mashed potatoes every meal when he's in Vegas. I'm not kidding. Salmon blackened, 4 orders of mashed potatoes, and like he'll pour salt on everything for like this for about a
Ew.
minute, like a minute.
Yeah.
You know, he has his own. Yeah, guy's incredible.
Oh wow, you probably have the best stories. Do you have any Doug stories? Have you and Doug ever played Cash together?
Not really. We've played online a little bit back in the day.
Mhm.
Um,
Wow, Daniel.
yeah,
Guy.
Daniel's got the MJ over there.
Mhm.
Um, no, I don't have too many good Doug stories other than him just coming to Bobby's room, me emptying the clip, betting on everybody playing him ads up mixed games and going broke on that. He won an obscene amount, torturing everybody. And I don't know if Mr. Brunson is listening, for bet on the right, but you know, leave Frank Lucas alone. Like, leave this kid alone, Doyle. Okay. Poker hasn't been solved, but just leave Doug alone, please. And everywhere, all this heads up shit, just. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But yeah, no, and I mean, we've always crossed paths and had a really good time. I enjoy Doug's company a lot at the poker table.
Mhm.
I know he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but I think he's hilarious and, you know, obviously one of the great players of all time. So I just have a sentimental kind of respect for that. Small bet from Negs here after 4 betting, and we have this. And let's see. I mean, straight draws, some King X, the usual suspects. Wow. Obviously an awkward SPR, sub 0.5 SPR. So any shred of equity for Doug? I wonder, does he have check folds with like actual equity? He jams. He gets snapped. Okay. Negs. Negs
God,
needed
Daniel's
that.
doing so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine a jack there would have been the straw that just
Yeah, I think that would be like stream over. He'd need a
yeah,
new laptop.
stream over, laptop over.
Yeah.
Um, so understandable procedures by both. Was that King Jack offsuit?
Let's see. Yes, it was. King
Uh,
Hearts, Jack of Diamonds.
Let's take a look. That's a pure call of the 4 bet from Doug, so bravo. Those are uncomfortable kind of continues 4 bet, but you know, and they're like one example of the small 4 bet kind of really paying off.
Yeah, that's a weird hand to like be. I trust you obviously, but man, you're probably in really sticky spots post flop, just like that one when
Totally.
you're calling King Jack, because you're thinking like you're going to be up against aces, kings, ace king a decent amount when you do, and when you hit and they don't have hands like that, you're probably not getting paid, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a kind of a shitty spot, but I suppose necessary. And you know, a guy like Doug is going to win the pot sometimes on 4, 5, 6, 7. On
Hmm.
you know, he's going to do what he needs to do in those spots. If you're not willing to do what needs to be done, I mean, that can be a losing continue for some players who are. But and it might be a losing continue anyway, but just your range needs to do it.
Hmm.
All right, Kings versus Jack. So next, 40% here on the left. Maybe he's mounting a little charge. He is sitting out now though. Let's see. Yeah, nines with a king, good. Take it, sir.
So we'll see if this is a break or if this is the end.
Okay.
We
I'll
would
be
know
right
if they're allowed to chat.
I know. I mean, I know.
Guys, if you're looking to improve your poker game, if you've been thinking about purchasing a course on Upswing, it's a rare occasion when there's actually a sale site-wide. It's 25% off. There's some really good heads up courses. Obviously, the one that Doug built a couple years ago, and then there's a new one with Dougie Den, which I find very enjoyable so far. And obviously, if you're MTT players, if you're 6max cash game players, pretty much anything, it's all covered on Upswing. So check it out. And that's the end of my shilling for now. If you guys got some funny stuff in chat, this is the time to send it because I actually have a minute to read it. Thank you, Thallow. And they're back. So Daniel is not quitting.
Oh,
Like
snap.
another half hour in the works.
Is that confirmed half hour? Is that what they said? Or
No, I just haven't seen them like take a break and then come back for 5 minutes or something.
yeah, for
They
sure.
seem to take breaks every half hour or so. Who knows though? I could see anything could happen. You lose like 100K pot and just straight.
Yeah. Maybe it's finally that 16-hour session you were talking about.
I would feel so bad if we like sucker you in for the marathon.
It's
It'd
all
be
good.
totally fine if you take a break, come back.
It's all good in here.
God, I did one with Stapes. It was an overnight stream for Sydney, Australia. So we
Wow.
started at like 9 p.m. and we didn't finish till like 11 a.m.
Final
And
table.
drunk, and he was letting me take naps. And there was one nap where I just slept through the alarm, and he just like pokes me. He's like, "Do you want to do this job?" I'm like, "Oh my God."
That's a lot, man. All
Yeah,
night, 13 hours.
it sounded fun, like, "Ooh, a sleepover," and then it just was terrible.
Right. 20% call on the left. Check, check. Okay.
I really miss commentating at Poker Go though, where the funniest moment was me and Ali are just having a conversation during like Poker Masters, and we started talking about Bitcoin and like the positives and negatives of Bitcoin, and we're talking about like, well, it'll make it really weird in strip clubs, and I was like, well, like the strippers could just get like a QR code tattooed on, and Maury's running down the hallway. He's like,
Uh,
no, and he's like, we're trying to sell this one to NBC, and I'm like, sorry.
you cannot talk about strippers during yeah, Maury. It was a little bit, you know. It was,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
like, we're talking about Bitcoin. I mean,
Oh, I know. I know.
oh, he's awesome. I
Yes.
hadn't gotten in trouble like that since like middle school though, so I was like, oh my God, I just got yelled at. Oh no.
He got scolded by an elder that you respect. Yeah. 20% on the right. 3 of hearts slides in, and here we have this on the left. Value bet. Looks like Nags is coming with the cents now too. You know, he was going 37.50 a lot. Now he's doing the 37.49, 21, kind of like Doug. I like doing that. It feels like it's just annoying. King obviously good. And this seems pretty cool from Doug here, this small size. Tens with a king, well done. Small size kind of hand. Check call on the left. Overbet. Seems to make sense. Straight draws abound. An advantage in the literal nuts. Kind of a scary river for negs. He just can't have 10 jack, and Doug can. Full pot on the right. Nice give up from Polk, clearly. Maybe not a give up per se, but good choice checking. Heating up. Calls. Winner. Ace high good. He's heating up a little bit. I mean, relatively speaking.
I mean, the table on the right's getting pretty exciting for a big pot.
It really is. That's big pot territory under cage for sure. Eight's good on the left.
There's been just a series of give ups.
Yeah. Yeah, there have. Got on the left now. Full pot on the right. Maybe if that 6 is a 5, you overbet. But with now 2 straights present, maybe, I don't know, weird river here. 10.8 out there. Could see some overbetting here on the right for sure. Does come with 1.6, and I mean, just imagine, you know, people watching how annoying this is with all sorts of hands, even up to, you know, even straights are tilted right now. But, and this is a weird spot where some 1 pair hands actually make better calls than 2 pair hands. 4-5 offsuit with the 5 of clubs, queens up for negs. So obviously a very spicy line there from Polk. Seems pretty theoretically sound, the undercards to the board and the club blocker, but well done from negs there.
How does that work with the basically having 1 good blocker and then, you know, you don't want to have a diamond, right? Does that just, is it just a wash at that point?
I like that. I like a no diamond and a club seems great. And the 5 of clubs just blocks 8 5 of clubs and queen 5 of clubs, which are big time hands, and, you know, other hands we can think of as a club. And exactly, you nailed it. Yeah, no diamond is sweet too. We really want Daniel to have diamonds.
Yeah. So I feel like does it ever equal out? Like if you have 1 great card and 1 shitty card, or you're just like, okay, you don't really consider blocker effect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's also textural, like offhand, the club probably supersedes the diamond as, you know, as far as relevancy for that spot. But yeah, they offset. And sometimes they're bad blockers, which is one of those tricky things about poker. I think there a club is just empirically good to have for Doug, but you know, it's not always what it seems. I think this is 3-bet here, check, check. Probably see next check a lot again. Didn't see the action, but some meat on the bone on the right. Take it down. So maybe next is only down like 175 now. Not only, but does that sound about right?
It says, yeah, 185. And that's always like, within 20K really,
Yeah,
because it's hard.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard to see like when they're topping up 2K sometimes, stuff like
it
that.
is. So, okay, I mean, this is not that, I mean, these are normal swings for heads up. He does come with this scary spot. I mean, yeah, very scary spot. You got to be so careful with this guy when there's straights out there and you're the three better. And I like betting for value, but this is the kind of spot where you have to pay this off sometimes. But tilt, and I mean, Doug can have 5-4 suited here and do this. He's going to turn the right one pair stuff into bluffs. He's so
Mhm.
tough. So who knows? I mean, well, we could ask him after the match, and he won't tell us, but
Yeah.
we can ask.
I'm just looking forward to trying to implement this in my game and just infinite.
Just getting wrecked for it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, believe me. Scary guy to try to emulate here, but a worthwhile emulation nonetheless. Check, check. He's coming with this on the turn, winner. Doug's thinking it over on the right.
11K. No.
What it feels like always, but
Whenever he thinks for longer than like 3 seconds, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be more.
he might have been rolling for a call or a fold.
I'm gonna say something incredibly sexist, but it's fine. I feel like women don't even need to have like randomizers. We're just like, I just feel like doing this right now. Our brains like randomize themselves.
Yeah, maybe. Like I have the randomizer going, but like I just constantly ignore it or
That's
spin it
great.
and then spin it again so I could put some chips in. Like
Yeah. It's kind of like when you don't know what you want to eat for dinner and you're like, okay, we're gonna coin like, Italian or Mexican, and like while the coin's in the air, you've decided what you want it to land on. You just pick that.
exactly.
That's what your randomizer's like.
Exactly. That Italian Mexican dilemma is a big one here at the Shulman house too. A lot. Call on the right. Three bet on the left. Jack's good, straight good, everything good. Stab here from Max. Winner. A little bit of a lull the last 10 minutes. Feels like both of these warriors are a little card dead. Not a lull, but
We don't see one like 160% river bet. We're
Right.
like, it's so
Right.
boring.
Three bet win.
So are you gonna teach? Are you gonna teach your kid poker someday?
I think I might. Yeah. we'll see what the poker landscape looks like, but I would teach her real young if she just was into the
What
game.
about like chess and pool and all the other stuff you're into?
Yeah, definitely. She actually really likes chess now, which is cute.
Oh.
You know, she likes playing with the pieces and stuff. So, I mean, I've said this before, but I will happily send her to Siberia and just only speak to her, overbet on the left, speak to her maybe once every couple of months, but really she just needs to focus with a team of grandmasters and let's go Queen's Gambit style. I mean,
Yeah, dude,
three
that was
bet on the right. I'm only on episode 3, so but
won't spoil it for chat anyway. But man, I don't play chess at all, and it's great.
I put off watching it for a while because my own chess career has been so painful and has had so many devastating memories, but I finally started it. It's tremendous. Lead here from Doug on the left.
Also, I can't help but think of Jen Shahadi because she kind of looks like the girl too a little bit, and I'm like, wow, just gonna pretend this is Jen's backstory.
Yeah, totally. No, I know. I never knew Jen was so into, hitting the bottle in. No, but it's hard not to think of Shahadi. Yeah, I mean, redhead, beast at chess. I mean, it's such a good show. Winner for Nags on the right. Full pot here from Micro Stakes on the left. This was check, bet, kind of big. Okay, hello. We have some action. We have a little bit of action. I feel like the best bluffs here might be like the 5 of hearts. 3's full.
Wow.
That's, well.
Is just a call normal there?
Good question. It's understandable, I think. I mean, I think we all kind of understand it. It might speak to some idea from Doug that there is a little skew towards conservative kind of play from Daniel there on that end, or it might just be okay.
Yeah, if you can't find that many hands you're beating that he's gonna call with, like if he's gonna fold too much, then just calling's probably good, right?
Yes, I think given how Doug can go pedal to the metal though, it's reasonable to think Daniel might get over sticky with his ace high flushes. Over sticky, I don't really know what they're supposed to do versus re-raises. I think they do some folding for sure, but of course some calling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, to be honest. I think if we both kind of don't know instinctually, it probably means it mixes. That's not always the case, but when it's so fringy like that, it can probably raise sometimes. Double paired here on the right. And what a tilty one for Negs to raise, get called, and just lose. Like,
Yeah.
okay. I think that was a check back there on the right. Was it?
I'm gonna look at a warp speed or snail's pace. I guess I'll go warp speed.
Yeah. 3-bet now.
It's just single raise, C bet,
Mhm.
turn bet call, check, river. Yep.
So there you go. I mean, it's interesting. We've seen, I don't want to call the 3s nitty, but Doug mixes it up, because he's obviously a psycho, but then he's checking boats and shit. Like, so he's just everywhere. Like, two-tone here, check back flop. Looks like Doug borrowed that 400 stab from Daniel there on the right. We have this lead. Nothing scarier than when that time bank is ticking down for old micro stakes. Yeah. That is just unreal.
Sick human being.
And it did. I don't know. I don't want to say Daniel's line is fishy, but that 40% turn and then this kind of non-polary sort of sizing on the end strikes me as unorthodox. I think you polarize that river for sure. I shouldn't say for sure because that just might not be true, but it feels that way to me. And a little winner on the right too.
I had a couple questions in chat. I just assumed a lot of people have watched prior matches, but if you haven't, this is a heads up grudge match, 200, 400. They're playing at least 12,500 hands, and the loser at that moment can decide to go another 12,500 hands. Not aware of any side bets or Doug laying odds to Daniel or anything. But there's a lot of money on this from the rest of the poker degens.
Certainly is.
2 of them are calling the action today.
Correct. This is a tremendous event for poker. I mean, the multiple streams and different people involved and just the sweat. Thank you so much to both of these psychos for providing us with these sweats every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just tremendous. Like,
especially right now because home is boring and like people really need to stay home.
oh yeah, 4-bet here from Neg. Yeah, they couldn't have timed it any better. And I mean, okay. Call here from micro stakes. This is a kind of micro stakes sort of board in a 4-bet pot, but obviously Negs has things like king, king, ace, ace. Check, check, flop. Could have ace, ace, could have ace, king, ace, queen. Let's see. And one idea in this match is that Doug is going to play bigger pots better, which are worth more dollars and stuff. Might not be the case, but it's a kind of conventional idea. And the truth is, a lot of us make glaring mistakes in these 4-bet pots. They're very hard. Mm-hmm. So navigating these well is massive. And he's very familiar with 4-bet pots. Let's see. We have 2 checks now. Comes with this.
This is Daniel sized.
Comes with
I'll tell you, I don't want to call it, but the multiple times he's done this, it's been inducing and he's gotten his way.
And that's exactly what it was. Beautiful, beautiful value bet there. I guess he needed the club to do it, but that speaks for itself. And surely he got called by ace high. If it was ace high with a club, maybe it could have raised sometimes, but okay. And a big raise from
he's not inducing the sevens there, so that's right. That's different. He was just value betting, but other times he was just nutted. I was like I think it's about to happen, and then massive pot.
Winner there from Negs. Nice raise. Nice choice of sizing. He went with a really big kind of raise sizing. Yeah, not inducing, but I wonder, if Negs jammed the river there. I mean, he has ace king or ace queen either with 2 clubs or 1 club a lot of the times. So that might have been a little. Doug might have rolled for it and called like 10% of the time or something. Flop check raise here. Negs is feeling himself a little bit after that. Flush on the right, maybe.
Poker's getting sick because it's like bleeding into regular games too. Like in Mafia, I was like, well, that's a weird kill. Why would Mafia do that? And I find out some people like randomize kills.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they're randomizing it among us too. It's like, guys.
Crazy.
I know. Check raise flop, check, check, turn. Seems like a keep going kind of turn for Negs a lot, but might just have something like 5x of diamonds, like king 5 of diamonds or something seems, it's got king of diamonds 6. This I don't like, but I think you have to go super hard at that turn after check raising flop. I just don't get that one. Yeah. But
is that a texture you could really have an overbet in the turn? It looks natural. Or is that just such a connected turn card you wouldn't?
I don't see why not. I mean, it makes a straight, and you've check raised flop, um, and things like two pair and stuff, need a lot of protection. So I think you can, yeah. But as is often the case, I'm just not sure. Such is the nature of the beast with deep stack heads up. And the thing too that's like worth remembering, you certainly can. I mean, maybe it's unsound, but then now you're on the river, it definitely makes some sense and you have outs. Like I need to remind myself that a lot. Mike Daniel needs to remind himself of that too, because if you try to just go too far into the solver and mimic the plays and you can find yourself shortchanging yourself almost, because we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things that are unsound, but it's okay. I mean, it's logical kind of overbet, even if maybe it's not theoretically approved. And I think it is, but five's good.
Yeah, heads up has a lot less of that like warm feeling of like I have the nuts or like I know my hand is good. There's so much less of that and so much more just like navigating through like the murkiest spots.
Without a doubt. And the murkiness is where Doug is, just right at home.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot replace the amount of seasoning that he's had playing, the best players of his day across multiple eras for big stakes, playing heads up. You really find yourself in uncomfortable spots, and navigating those spots, it's an art form. I mean, it really is. King's good. And a lot of times you draw your raises. Dan Zach said this once, and it stuck with me. I've heard a lot of guys say this, but that a lot of times you want to draw your raises from your most uncomfortable calls on the river. If you're looking for spots to raise, you might want to start thinking about your fringiest calls. And I feel like Doug is, so ready to take those spots where a lot of people are like, let's just call and see. And it's understandable, because you have showdown.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there are similar concepts to that, just like pre-flop and MTTs and stuff too. You're like, close, like this is almost good enough to call it, so I'm either gonna fold it or, and like learning that, like learning to like recognize that feeling before you just throw a call in has been
Yes.
really good for me.
Yes. Couple of small ones here. Doug checks back turn left. Daniel probably has a little more deuce X. I think Doug barrels a lot of his deuce X on turn. Maybe not though. Seems like a logical one. This guy has had a lot of like king deuce off, king three off today. Comes with this 2/3 winner.
We haven't had to actually talk about the like, deposit limits. I think they changed it, though. I think WSOP did end up letting them put 2 million, I think I read, but when it was just 1 million a month, I was like, wow, some of these swings have been so big. I thought there was a chance they'd have to like take a break.
Yeah, for sure.
So they might be loaded up by now. I think it's they might have 2 million a piece on there, but if you're having 200K swings, it's not,
No,
there's still a
nothing.
chance
Yeah,
it's not enough.
for these stakes. Yeah, 3-bet on the right. Now let's see. You could come with something pretty big here if you're next, but I think you can go small as well and check all the time. He comes with something kind of in the middle. This is sort of his new kind of size that he's trying out for a little test drive. Going to be a lot of peeling here for Doug. He comes with this. I think you could see Negs do some jamming here too, because I think he feels like he has real fold equity. He might have elected to, well, let's see. I mean, all three options are of course on the table, but comes with the fold. So he just didn't have a whole lot.
Let me see if I can snag the puppy real quick. She's right here to be very.
Puppy.
Yeah.
When you say puppy, what are we talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about a legit puppy. Come here. Oh. Like she's.
Oh. What's her name?
This is Princess Buttercup.
Princess Buttercup. Is that a full-on pit?
She's like I think 35% pit. She's so many weird things. Hi.
6 months?
Yeah.
Like that? Oh man.
She's cute.
Maybe I'll get Dino in here at some point.
Yeah. Oh, you have a play date with your
Sure.
kid.
Congratulations. I mean,
Thanks. I love chat, and there's still dog emotes. Yay.
nice call from Negs.
How's your pup doing? Does your kid and your dog like each other?
Yeah, they're best friends. It's really cute. He's pretty protective over the house now.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like even more so with the baby. I mean, he's a fluffy, like absurd looking dog, so he's not real scary. But
I rang your doorbell and your dog was like, "Get off my porch," and I was like,
yeah. He thinks he goes hard, but no, they're real tight. It's very cute.
Awesome.
Got the 2/3 thing going on, winner. Check on the right. And now this from Doug on the 3 of clubs turn. Okay.
Chat says terrible name for a dog. If you don't know Princess Bride, you need to educate yourself and get back to me about that name.
Straight up. Next with a raise on the turn, winner. 3/4 here on the left. Little check raise good. I feel like Doug has a higher check raise frequency on the flop than Daniel by quite a lot. Might just not be true. Small sample size, but feel like it is. 3-bet on the right, call. You'll see a small bet or a check here. But maybe ace king can just go big and some other stuff. Comes with quarter. It's called. Kind of a weird spot. Yeah, I like that check from Daniel a lot of the time because it's sort of like not really a 3-street hand anymore with a lot of stuff, although some stuff. And Doug can have some very ambitious floats. We've seen this before from him with just like the middle of the deck, maybe with a backdoor. This is spice. 4s and 5s come to mind as possible, but a lot of other stuff take it down. Looks like Daniel just had a snap kind of white flag kind of situation. 3-bet on the left.
Doug's approaching 300K on the left. Holy shit.
Yes, he is. Looks like he's going for it right now. Okay, 4-bet pot call.
It's so crazy to me how many, like how the 4-bet sizing is inducing a lot of calls. That's just part of the game. And then SPR will just be like 1.5 for DNegs. Like, isn't this weird? I don't.
Very, and of course, like if Negs has any of this middle of the deck equity, it's either call or raise. Yeah, and these awkward SPRs, they're very technical, and you kind of need to be precise, or whatever. I mean, check call flop, and not really a good turn for Daniel at all. But I mean, still you're a pair plus straight draw at this SPR. I think something like 6-5 suited. Like
I was not expecting a check back from Doug.
It's interesting. Like a spot like this is so murky for constructing a bluffing range and everything. I mean, the ace is a weird card, and let's just see how it unfolds. Check raise on the right over there. Yeah. Yeah. Doug's just too good. I mean, it's, you know, being a little bit facetious, but he just snap called with queens with the diamond, just whatever. And I think Daniel kind of wants to jam the end or check, but maybe not. And it's annoying with no diamond in your hand. And again, and murky, that's probably okay what he did. It might be just the smorgasbord of sizes are kind of okay. And there's some neutral EV things going on because the spot is so, and he might just check, he might just give up. You might, like, you do give up sometimes. That might be the wrong idea as far as a bluffing combo. I don't know. Let's all pursue it on our own and get better at poker. I mean, weird spot, but take it down, Doug.
Oh, sorry about your ears, chat.
3-bet in this size.
Chat saying painful to watch, but I don't think they really mean it.
Is the chat like heavily rooting for Doug because it's the upswing chat, or is it?
Yeah, once in a while we get a straggler who's like a D-Negs fan who doesn't know it's the upswing chat, and then they're like, "Why is everyone saying nice things about Doug?" And we're like,
Right. So 3-bet call, 40% call, and now just north of third. Hits Daniel's range pretty hard. I mean, ace queen was one of his most sort of principled bluffs, and obviously the nuts are possible too. But he could still have the middle of the deck. So well done, Negs. We'll never know. But that jam seems normal for sure.
you guys can put ones in the chat if you want to see whole cards, and if you put enough ones, there'll be a whole card stream for sure. Do you have any lies to tell them, Nick?
Any what?
Any lies you want to tell, chat?
Oh, I'm all lies. I mean, yeah, I don't, not offhand, but yeah. So I'm down to start lying to the chat for sure. 40% here on the turn after check, check. Okay, see. Like a kind of snap bet there from Doug. Yeah, 60 some odd percent top pair.
There is a pretty good burn in chat that I wanted to say. They said the reason the match couldn't be played on GG is that Doug would have gotten banned for bum hunting.
Oh, oh.
That's a really funny comment.
Oh, man.
Brutal.
The match ain't over yet, chat. Let's, but all
In
right.
the pillow.
3-bet on the right. Probably going to see a lot of small betting. It's a third. 3-bet on the left. Bet win. Would imagine you'll see Doug check most of the time here. I think Daniel wants to bet a lot of his air right now. Like, this is a nice situation for us, seemingly. We have that sort of stuff. Probably he just has some showdown, I would imagine, but comes with this. I wonder if he was getting a little trappy on the turn, because this just feels maybe 7-8, 7-9, you know, 8-8. I mean, do this and kind of go for value, but it's a little bit weird. And maybe Doug is trying to kind of figure out what to do with it, with some sort of an ace high right now. Or maybe he's got the goods out of nowhere. It's like 3-bet on the left, big bet. Take it down, negs on the right. Big bet gets called on the left. King of diamonds, a little bit weird. Probably hits Daniel harder because he'll just bet his king highs where Doug won't call them. I wonder if that king, there's a chance that king is supposed to bet always for negs. And there's a chance it's not. Sometimes those spots are weird where a king or a queen is like a pure bet almost for the 3-better. But that's probably not the case now that Doug is going third. So let's see. 3-bet on the right takes it down. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. I'm not
Can
exactly
it
sure.
slow down from D-negs when he just has like 10s or jacks or something
That's
like that?
exactly what I was just thinking. Definitely. Probably it's somewhat relevant to block king 10 suited if you have 10s, I would imagine. And if he does have 10s or jacks, which he very well might, he snaps with king 7, 3's full good. I mean,
Just what a brutal turn card for D-negs.
it's a little bit of a brutal turn card for sure. The 7 of hearts doesn't seem like a great card to have on paper, but probably a king just mostly is just calling as played. 4-bet immediately, so. Man.
For the 1 second there's no huge pot, I can answer that question from chat. They asked what would happen if someone wanted to quit before the 12,500 hands. I think their contract said they can't. So I can find out. Oh wow.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh my god. I believe the session just ended, but we'll see.
He sat out. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a snap. So,
Wow, that's
and he's typing on the right too. He's telling, oh my god. He's typing. He's still typing. Let's go, negs. I want to know what he's typing so bad. I would pay. I don't know what I would pay to just know what's going on right now in Daniel's house.
There's something about feeding teeth to an orifice.
Correct. I believe, yes. Yes. Oh man. I would be laughing at whoever is enduring this kind of pain for what it's worth. Not personal.
You would be laughing through this pain, is that what you said?
No, I'm laughing at just, whatever. What? Okay. I mean, oh, that was a tough one. Getting in Queen's 8 spree is, I mean, yeah.
So is this a break? Is this the end?
I think this is the end, but he hasn't left. So wait, he's sitting back in. He's back. I mean,
wow.
He's just snapped back. Let's go, negs. I mean, this guy is an animal. He's out. That could have been a button kind of thing. He's out again. Okay. He was doing the kind of. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, I think we're having Doug. So that's the end of the match. I think Doug's coming in. If you guys want to hear what he has to say, I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty happy. And I'll check. If you want to tweet at me or Nick, we'll read some of the good questions. Wow.
Yeah, feel free to send some questions. We'll ask him. I mean, what a match, Jamie.
That was crazy. We have to have I love to ask Jungle anything. It was especially funny because it was like at times a you and Galfon tag team, which is an incredible tag team to start with. Some of the questions where he just is like, I can't tell how seriously he's actually taking them, but he's just from Mars. Like, this dude is not a human from Earth, right?
No, absolutely not. He's the Jungle Man. I mean, yeah. Bang, marry, kill was my favorite answer. He would marry Galfond, but bang me and cheat on Galfond with me, and then try to steal Galfon's money was his answer.
Wow.
He really wasn't expecting that one.
Wow, I never really thought about that, like, to marry someone so that you get
Mhm.
half of their
To get
money.
half of Galfon's,
Yeah,
yes.
that's pretty well thought out.
But man, oh man. So did Doug just win because he left with 400? I
Yeah,
think
let
he
me
won like three.
it says 340,000.
Yeah.
That's an estimate, but I mean, they're usually within, like, 10 or 20K.
So it finally happened. That 10 buy-in kind of day finally happened. Was bound to happen. Honestly, it was small. It was kind of. I mean, I know they're short sessions, but it felt like this was overdue one way or the other. So, I mean,
Yeah,
great job, Doug. Wow.
it's wild, but the cherry on top is, like, 2 outer at the end for was that, like, 90K pot, something like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. So I wonder, Jimmy, if you could let us know if Doug's definitely coming. Um, if not, then we will, play with chat for a minute.
I just saw I just saw a message from him, I think in Discord. He said 2 minutes.
Oh, cool. Okay. Sweet. Alright, I'll check Twitter and see what kinda questions we're working with. Oh, yeah, people wanna know about if there's a possible Doug Doyle, challenge coming up. What do you think about that? The chances of that happening?
Of a
Very
Doug
small.
what?
If Doug and Doyle will play some kinda heads up, like, 8 game.
Well, I don't know. Doug, we hear you, but not very loud.
Oh,
I'm here. I'm here. Hold on.
okay.
I have to play a song though.
Yeah. There he is. Yeah, yeah.
This is pretty much what we were picturing you doing the whole time.
This is how I picture every hand kind of going in the Polk house. How you feeling, champ? That was master class right there,
All
buddy. Master class. How you feeling?
uh, I'm doing good. You know, it's honestly just too unfair. I think when like I'm playing good, getting good spots, and then the deck is also just like, yeah, Doug's gonna win all these today. So it's just like, oh my, the 8 to the end, I was just like, okay, it makes sense. I lose a stack here, and then I turn to straight draw, and I'm like, or does it? And then
This
bang
is a
off the
glass
8 on
half
the
full
river.
constantly.
Oh my lord.
Dude, how does it feel?
Unbelievable. It's great. It's honestly great. I mean, obviously, like this is the session that I was hoping for a while. You know, you don't want to get too excited because it can easily just flip back the other way. Without that much, happening. Like heads up swings are huge.
Mhm.
So you don't want to put the carriage in front of the horse, but we have a good lead now. It's solid, nice lead. Hang the hat on. Yeah.
It's so easy to be results oriented, but it really looked like a pretty clean session from you play wise, and everything just looked money. I mean, did you kind of feel that playing? It looked like that ace jack of hearts pick off was obviously, that speaks for itself. That seems like the one with hearts on that board, and like just I don't know your sizings. You have over bets coming in on the flop, which you've been doing, but you're just kind of everywhere. I mean, really well done. Or do you feel? Are you peaking confidence wise right now? Just
Yeah, I mean, so like you know when you've studied really hard at something and you've been working on it day in and day out. And I know Nick, you get really into things too, right? I know you've been a lot really into chess as well, right? I think it's something that you've been, partaking in. And obviously poker and everything else. So when you get just locked in the zone and you spend several months just all you can do is just this thing to try and to be at peak performance, and then all of a sudden these situations are coming up like, oh, I know this one, 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 and you're just like, oh yeah, this hand does this, oh yeah, this hand does that, and then it's like you're in the fucking matrix, and like
yeah.
the bullets are like, and I'm just like, and then like D-Neg's turn barrel is like this, and I'm like, and then D-Neg's like fires the river, and I'm like this, and it's just like, I'm just dodging all over the place. So it was fantastic. I got a bunch of spots that I studied specifically and got to make some interesting plays. The ace jack was one of them. The queen 10 where I led jammed was one of them.
The lead
Um,
jam, yeah, that was
Yeah.
beautiful. I've really haven't seen too many of those. Is that a function of the queen itself? Is that a queen high, jack high kind of thing with the middly cards, or?
yeah, so in 4-bet pots, they're strange because essentially obviously imposition is polar and opposition just has like the kinds of hands that don't want to jam that are good. So it's not just like a foregone conclusion that you're going to check everything. It's not like in single race pot where you could lead some fancy players will lead, but they're just being fancy. Doesn't have that much
Right,
value.
right.
Four-bet pots have value with leads. So
Really cool.
worked on that spot exactly. Honestly, that spot exactly a
I
bunch.
believe, I believe you, bro.
So it's I know I'm like overly excited for when it happened, right? You're like, okay, Doug, we get
No,
it.
not
Like,
really though, but I no, but I mean,
yeah,
and listen, we were talking about this too. 3 and 4 bet pots. I think conventional kind of thinking would be that you're going to really shine in those, and they're wildly important. And that lead was beautiful. What do you think of his ace jack float? I wasn't sure what's up with that. No backdoor. I
I
don't
think
know.
I didn't check his suits. I was a little too busy celebrating.
I don't know if he
um,
unblocked a backdoor or not.
I think let me look at his suits. It it was probably okay.
Yeah,
To be honest, it was probably just correct.
yeah.
But let me check the suits and stuff on that. It's oh my god, I won the biggest 10 pots on this table. Yeah, I actually I had a session earlier in the challenge where I lost the 12 biggest pots on one table. So I'm on both sides of that one now. It's not fun when you're in the on the other side.
Would you
Let's see.
have? What did you
He had
have on? Go ahead.
he had ace, jack, ace of hearts, jack of clubs. So
What were the suits? It was queen 5 6 what?
queen 5 6 jack. Yeah, I mean, I think his hand was fine. Yeah, I think his hand was fine. I think if you run his hand, he played it fine.
I'm laughing at you a little because
Yeah.
remember when you were in the chat and you're all excited and you're like, I studied this one spot for 2 hours, and then the exact same spot came up, and I lost a huge pot.
Yeah. Yeah,
You were
it
so
doesn't
excited.
guarantee you the pot having studied it.
Gotta be an amazing thing for you at this point, being so immersed in kind of modern day theory and all that, because you're such a great player anyway. So like, I'm sure a lot of these modern day ideas sort of confirm your not only just literal ideas about the mechanics of the deck, but just some of your feel and when you were just working people back in the day. I know you were preparing and studying, but like, and that's the thing. You are in the matrix of modern day stuff, but you also have the showdowns under your belt. You've seen it all, kind of done it all out there. So it's like, it's unthinkable what level you might be playing at times. And obviously, you're still a work in progress, like any poker player. But it must be rewarding for you, almost on like a connection with poker standpoint, to actually be getting better at this juncture. You
De
know?
definitely. I've improved so I think if you look at where my game is today compared to absolute peak of my prime before, I'm way better.
Yeah, it's
Not even
cool.
it's not even close because just the resources that you have now. Like back in the day, it was like, pen, paper, and JMO comes in and you like write out some hands and you give to work. And then he
We all.
complains because it's been a lot of hours and his hands hurt. But I say, JMO, this is how we beat Isildur. Um, now it's like, the software just does it for you. And
It
so,
doesn't, it doesn't, though. I was talking to
well,
Petrangelo about this
oh,
recently. What do you
oh,
think of this? He was saying you got to get the hands in. Like you have to play it. Do you think you could take a strictly academic approach and get to top
no,
level?
no, sorry. Let me just rephrase what I meant
Of
a little
course.
bit. I meant like from the ideas of what you're trying to do. Like I don't mean the actual application of it. You still have to get in there, play the hands, see them in real time. A lot of these spots, you know, they're hard in real time, and you can make errors very easily. So you do have to get in the hands, you do have to get in the volume, you do have to actually focus on trying to implement it and go back and look at your hands and be like, okay, this should have been this, and like next time I should think about it in this different way, and um, trying to think about like the way that just trying to improve your mindset and trying to improve the way that you approach the game. I didn't mean that if you just pull up a solver, it's over. Like everything is. There's so many flops, so many spots, so many situations, so many things that can happen. But but conceptually, a big part of my game back in the day was just finding enough bluffs, right? And it wasn't like I had the perfectly solved bluffs. I
Sure.
didn't. I still don't. But I focused on my frequencies being good. and that was just mind blowing back in the day. Like no one could fuck with that. Like people just weren't even like, wait, you find bluffs everywhere? That's like we're not doing that around here. We're just gonna bet our sets and call it a day. Um,
You were ahead of your time in the law.
what do you say, Jamie?
I said I feel personally attacked by that comment.
I saw someone get upset in the trailer for the thing, like Full Ring Live players were like, I feel attacked. Yeah, it was,
I had a
uh,
question.
sure.
So you started just pounding pretty hard on the table on the left with, like, I just felt like you were taking every aggressive action possible for like half an hour after winning a couple big pots. Is there some game flow thing where you're just torturing him at some point? Like, because it felt like it.
Really, no. It's just
No,
not. It's not
just
like
taking every
it's not
hand.
like that. Yeah, I mean, look, like you know, every hand is just an individual moment, and if you start to be like, oh, I'm winning, I'm gonna play different. Why? Why that didn't get you here? Say I'm winning. Time to like just do something fucking different. I don't understand. Nick, there was a hand you asked me about, and then you said, and then we got.
I was being a little bit sarcastic because I know you're not going to tell us, but it was something like ace nine six five deuce, maybe three bet, check twice, and then Daniel sort of went for value
Oh
size
yeah,
in
I
the end,
remember
and
that.
you jammed. You just
Yeah.
seem like the kind of guy, speaking of having the right bluffs in the right spots, it's like, I don't know. It feels like you might be jamming there even more than GTO because it's such a good with like 5-4, like whatever, like those sorts of things. I was going to ask specifically what you had, but I know better than that. But
I'm
yeah, it
not
just
sure.
looked like every one of those spots you're right there. I mean, obviously it's easy to be results oriented, but looks like you're playing really really great. So keep it up,
Thank
man.
you.
I mean, it was nice to watch. It was a fun session to watch. I mean, that was really you finally did it where you had one of these days, or either one of you guys had one of these days. But yeah, that really looked like a world class performance today. So I mean, well done.
Appreciate that. I appreciate
Um,
that.
Of course.
Obviously, chat wants to know if you're gonna have any more challenges. Like I said, does anyone have any questions? And like 50% of the questions on Twitter and on chat are just, are you gonna challenge Doyle? Are you gonna challenge Bilzerian? Like, are any of these gonna work out?
Well, so let's just like let's sort through them just for a second, okay? The Doyle thing is very friendly. Like he said, like cut out the cheat sheets, and I was like, I'll play it live, and then it's like a little bit of bants. It's not that
Yeah.
and I sent people like, wow, challenging an old man, that's fucked up, dog. You have no morals. It's like that's not even what really happened. He just like called me. He just basically said something about online poker, and I said nicely, like, we can play if you want. I don't expect really anything there. If maybe one day we find something in the middle, that could be fun. But again, like that's not that serious. Bilzerian is just like, what the fuck was that? Like, we were talking through like private whatever and debating some stuff about. He wanted absurd odds. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna just give you 10-1 on like some short hand challenge. That's just not. I'm not doing that. That's fucking insane. I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna just show up here and put myself in a terrible spot where if he plays like ridiculous, which he probably will, he could maybe variance it up and have a chance to scoop 20 million. We're not doing that. And then in the middle of that, I just see this GG poker post where he's like, yeah, me and Doug, 20 million to 2 million. It's going down. Like, what? That was at no point did I agree to that at all. So I kind of don't see that one happening either. But that's just more like I think he's just wants to be a little bit in the spotlight and be like, I'm here too, guys. Um,
What about
other,
Big Perkins?
I think BP might play. He said he needs a little bit of time to like, party and stuff. Maybe he won't feel as strong about the hybrid poker app learning experience after this challenge. We'll have to see how it plays out, but
Shots
um,
fired. Maybe not. We'll see.
time will tell. I tweeted something at Perkins the other day because like he was still just just chirping. He just sits on the sideline,
Yeah.
just chirps. He just throws in the chirps. And D-Nix goes on like a 400K downer going into the day, and then like I tweet something. He's like, "We'll be getting your money!" Like from the background. It's like you lose 10 buy-ins, you're still just chirping away, not even remotely phased, just like same amount of chirping going on
Yeah.
regardless of the situation.
I kind
Respect.
of respect that though,
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the concept of chirping chips. Like, I want someone to be completely destroyed and still chirping.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out if he's still got it today.
Yeah. Well, you found somebody. Yes, we
Uh,
will.
um, I just want to say that I think, I think Daniel did a few things better today, and I know that's gonna sound like a backhanded compliment because I won so much, and there's always people that it's like anytime I say, "Oh, Daniel did something good," everyone's like, "Oh, nice hustle, Doug. Nice hustle." It's like, guys, the hustling part's over. We're into just like this is like the actual play. And he had some new sizes today that made sense in a lot of spots.
The
And I think
40% C-bets and stuff we were talking about.
they were good. I
Yeah.
think they were the spots he was using were good. Some of them were ones I used that. Like
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah.
obviously I think that's good. so so he brought some new stuff today that I think will help him. Um, so for him, it's just about getting better every day and doing his best and just being able to withstand the swings and the variance and stuff. Like he ran terrible today in a lot of spots. There was a peak. There was a hand that was just absolutely peak today when I called two streets with 8-7 on like eight ace jack 5-6,
Yep.
and I bang off the 9
Yep.
and I check raise him and he's got two pair. It's
Yeah.
just like stuff like that. Stuff like that. It's just there's not much you can do there. There's only so much you can do in his shoes. So,
Do you
um,
think those threes for you mix on the end when he had king 10 of diamonds?
You made the
it,
boat.
yeah, it's a weird spot. It's definitely a weird spot because he can have a few he can have a few boats that are better. He's going to play 6-5 like that a lot. He's going to play fives like that a lot. And so it's a question of, is threes too thin here now to re-raise? And I do have a bunch of better boats, so it'll give me a chance to bluff. I think it's
Mhm.
close. I do think it's close. Sometimes in those spots you just have to decide, like, is this the
Sure.
cutoff or not, and then run later. I did think it was close.
It probably mixes if it
Probably.
feels so close, it probably just mixes. Yeah, maybe it jams more without the diamond, but
It
yeah.
it didn't it didn't feel like a jam to me at the time. Um, I thought about the hand a decent amount afterwards because
Maybe you're right.
yeah, it's close, but it's not just like, am I ahead of his raise? Obviously, I'm way ahead of his raise, but
Yeah.
am I ahead of his raise call?
And
And
I don't know how many of his nut flushes are supposed to fold to jams, probably quite a few. And I guess that's something that you're considering too. What's his call frequency with the nut flush? That's a pretty big
well, he
question.
shouldn't he shouldn't have he shouldn't have that many flushes here because it's
Yeah.
check back. So
Yeah.
I mean, he will have some,
Yeah.
but it's a reasonably high frequency board. He shouldn't have a ton of flushes. So it's like,
Yeah.
what does that range look like that raise calls? Is it weighted towards boats?
Sure. Well, onward, bro. I
Three
mean,
three diamonds is a bad card as well. It's
it seems like
complicated. It's
it's very
complicated.
complicated. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
and you,
also been oh,
yeah,
sorry not to
sorry.
cut you off. Oh, I was just gonna say I've been doing some like different size stuff on the river too, out of position with some small bets and some big bets and some mixing and some check raising and stuff.
That's what I was
So
gonna say. You're so weird on the river to deal with because you got the block 3-bet you had, so it's like kind of like,
that was a great one.
yeah, you've done that a few times. Yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah,
Honestly,
you did a
in
few
all
times for you, my friend. Oof.
that might be my favorite line in poker. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's like, hey, small little bet, just a little bit of value, man. Like let's take it
yeah.
easy. Raise. Actually, I'm trapping you.
Actually,
Just,
I'm all in. Yeah,
it's so fun. That's
Did
my
you
my
expect him to
favorite line.
play longer? I would have lost all the money I own if someone said
I
it
think.
at like an hour 45. They're like, "Yeah, I think it'll go another hour past this." Like I would have lost my whole roll.
Well, I'm glad you weren't betting your roll on session length. That would be aggressive bankroll management.
Yeah.
No, I actually I'm a little surprised, but I think he wants to play less days and longer sessions. I
Yeah.
think I think that's what he wants to do. So he powered through it, and he started to make some headway there for a bit. He had the aces hand where he stacked me,
Mhm.
and then he just really, you know, today I hit a lot of hands. I just straight up hit a lot of hands, and
question.
that's
Do you think
yeah. What's up?
do you think his king queen of clubs jam? Do you think king queen is a little too strong, and you want to do that with like queen jack, queen 10, jack 10, or do you think it's a
So
mixture?
here's the really weird thing with 4-bit pots. It really depends on how he's structuring his calls. So like if you could put in different ranges in 4-bit pot and you get very different outputs.
Sure.
So we don't know what his pre-flop call range is like. It was likely loose. Um, but we don't know that. I mean, like I don't know how he's responding to my 4-bet. Um, I don't know how is he trapping some hands pretty or not? I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know, so we had to kind of make some assumptions. Um, Ace Jack is pretty interesting there. He jammed, and I was like, I'm gonna have to call this. I'm pretty sure. And I just like thought about it, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to just see what he's got. I think.
Yeah.
And I've made some call downs in not this spot exactly, but there was another Ace Jack in for a pot where I called him down and he had kings. Those obviously out of position. But the thing is, in 4-bet pots, there's a lot of money out there, and if you just look at what's correct, it's not play nitty. It's get
Yeah.
stacked. You're supposed to get out there and get stacked, and if they have it, they fucking have it, and then you just like lose a buy-in.
Yeah.
That's like basically the way you play 4-bet pots. So it doesn't mean just punt it off with whatever, but
Sure.
if you can think of like some sound logic for what you're trying to accomplish, then it's not a punt. It just feels like a punt because it's a buy-in. You know?
Yeah. I do.
You get stacked there with Ace Jack, and he shows up with like the nines, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Maybe that one was a little on the loose side over there. And then the internet, the forum people are like, "Can you believe that call?" And they just like get braided for till now. It's like, there's highlight video. Doug makes insane spewy call, and it's just like avatar. Like the thumbnail is me getting punched in the face by pocket nines. Like you're just thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, but you pretty much used to make all those videos, so you really can't complain.
True. Yeah, the shoes on the other foot. Actually, I think I'm gonna make a video on my biggest pots so far and post to the channel, just to like talk about some spots and some of the hands that we had.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Did you bet 1337 at any point today, or are you just down every day?
Every time I forget, I get in there and I'm like, that's not like, it's just too low in the priority list, you know? It's like, I'm sorry to my fans. I'm actually gonna lose fans from this. The
Yeah,
amount of people that are upset, because that was a whole thing on the stream before. It was every week about 137 we did.
yeah.
And then now we don't at all. And like the people are so sad. I can see the tweets. They're so sad. Oh man.
What else we got? I feel like you covered the main questions that get asked 1,000 times. Do you just want to do like a victory lap for us real quick or something?
I mean, a victory lap. I don't know what that means in this context. I will say, like, I think we're probably up like. So I probably won like 3. I have it written down somewhere, but I think like
It's like
3,
5 and change, I think, right?
330,
Close to
330.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be up like something like 550 to 600 after this. That's a good lead. That's the kind
Yeah.
of lead that I was hoping for, where I wouldn't have to really worry about things, towards the conclusion of. I mean, it's not even halfway. It's just like not that big of a deal, but
Mhm.
the disaster nightmare scenario is a few K hands left, you're dead even. And now not only do you have to worry about winning, you have to worry about side bets and
Yeah.
not fucking that up. And how does that change decisions? And like that can get really fucked up in some
Mhm.
spots, because it's also weird because it's not even money side bets. So like if I jam, like if let's say we had equal money, right? Even money side bets, there could be scenarios where one person jams, the other guy has to call a little bit tighter because they can't afford to lose that much, or whatever could happen. But it's one way, like he's getting really sick odds. So there's a lot of spots where I kind of wouldn't be able to bluff as much
Mhm.
because he should take high variance. Anyway, hopefully we don't have to go down this road, but I want to have a
Yeah,
nice
that would suck.
cushion so we don't have to get there, because that could get really fucked up. Could get really
Especially if
fucked up.
you have a game plan that's, like, insanely profitable and then you have to veer off of that just to try to win some side bet, that would suck.
Yeah, well, yeah, these are things I considered when I made the side bets. But I think when you think you got the EV, you gotta go out there and take it. That's the game. That's the game you play, and then you just hope that it goes better. It is also, having seen like both sides of the comments, because I went on a 400K downer in here, and I'm on like an 800K upper right now, or 700K, whatever the exact numbers are. Standard swings and heads up, just standard, not like huge, just standard. And to see the way that the community responds is funny. Like when I lost like 10 buy-ins, like, wow, Doug's really getting worked in these pots. Like he just doesn't know what he's doing, and like these calls, he's like, man, you're not gonna beat Daniel like that. Like wouldn't it? And then playing the same game, like some tweaks, but just like theoretical stuff. and then playing basically the same game, 20 by an upswing. And now I know Daniel's gonna get the exact same comments the other way. And like all of a sudden Doug's the great, like what Doug's doing now is good. Not before. Before that stuff was bad. We need to do more of this. It's like the chat box warriors can be all knowing.
Well,
You know?
sports fans are a pretty fickle bunch across the board, so
True.
but
It's
yeah,
true.
I mean, keep it up, dude. It's this has really been a great match to watch. Both you guys are worthy of tons of respect for getting in the box, and just all the different streams and people sweating, betting, watching for fun, everything. It's been great, man. So
Yeah, it's
just
cool.
really cool.
It's cool seeing something that so many people can watch and enjoy and talk about and sweat. And
Mhm.
this has been, I think, the biggest event for poker in a long time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID's played a big role in that, but definitely over the COVID era, this is the biggest event. And I think it's cool that we can have something that really does get people interested. And maybe want to play some more heads up. I've seen the WSOP streets. People are battling heads up. I don't know if this was happening before, but maybe
They
they're
are.
just
There's a whole little trickle down for sure, man.
yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I also want to say thank you guys for hosting today.
That was
Thanks for
fun.
having
I never got to work with Nick. This is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot
Nice.
of fun. Thanks for having me on, man. I've always been a big fan of upswing and stuff, so it was great being here. And yeah, man, maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Sounds good. I like the classic. You have your shuffling chips on the side as you're on the computer.
You hear that? I'm sorry. That's probably.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just
Yeah.
that's just the universal poker player thing. You're on a computer, you're shuffling chips.
Have to.
Have to.
Shuffles going on. You shuffling in there while you're playing at all, or no?
No, I don't even have chips.
This is some news. No chips even.
I have no chips.
This is a different level. Daniel has found himself in the Matrix. Us old timey guys are here shuffling chips. Come on, He stepped into. Oof. But we shall see. As you said, it's nothing. These swings aren't too crazy. A lot of poker left. We shall see.
And even if you think Daniel is a big dog here, he can still come back and make this a match. He just needs. If we had the reverse cards next session, I'm definitely losing, 5, 6, however many buy-ins. So this can easily come back. But the thing about poker that's sick is it doesn't ensure that you're going to run bad just because you ran good the day. Next one could just be the same thing. It's just the way that it goes. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will.
Well, good sesh, Doug.
Oh, and before we go, I just want to say, everyone, we have a Black Friday sale going on over on Upswing Poker. Head on by, 25% off all our courses. One day you can be as good as me. Well, maybe. Ali is. He was the first member of the lab.
Service, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
I actually I sent him a message on day 1 in the lab and was like, hey, let me get some feedback. It's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Doug.
Sign out. Peace. Thank you guys once again.